good, family? We back for another episode of the Family Bloodline Podcast. I'll give y'all some of these. Yeah, those are called rounds of applause. Those are called rounds of applause, fellas. Welcome back. Welcome in. We got a lot to go through tonight.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Let's see if we can do it under 3 hours.
Bruh, y'all are trying to break the bank, man.
Hey, it's so much happening, man, that you almost have to just to keep up with some of the stuff that's going on. I found out not too long ago that a lot of people get their updates from listening to and watching the podcast. So I got to do a better job with keeping stuff current on Spotify. But just trying to with knowing that and trying to I got to try to make sure that everything is updated so that we can people are getting the information.
Right.
That's a hard thing to do. So while I continue to get set up here, why don't y'all Deuce, tell us how you've been doing, man.
Hey man, getting ready for this move, man. Getting ready to move out to the West Coast. Join my brother Rich.
Where you gonna be at?
I'll be down in SoCal.
What part?
He had to do it.
Where?
Encino. It's right outside of Santa Monica.
Okay.
Yeah. The ashes. That being the ashes of Santa Monica.
You know what? When I come down there, 'cause I got an auntie and a cousin down there in LA. I'll meet you in Santa Monica at this time.
Well,
you gotta do that.
Yeah.
you
Drinks and good steaks.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm game.
Okay. How soon will you be there?
I'm gonna start driving end of July, so I should get out there August the 2nd. That first Friday, that first weekend in August, I'll be there.
And you're gonna be living in Encino.
I'll be Encino.
Yeah.
How you spell that? I-N-C.
E-N-C-I.
E-N-C-I-N-O.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you made that a thing, but you made it a thing. Had to get back out to Cali.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Man, so yeah, you get quite a bit of time to make that drive because you're going from coast to coast.
And I'm taking leave on top of it. So I think you give me 8 or 9 days. I'm gonna take like 5 on top, make it a good 2-week thing.
Okay. All right. Got it.
That's a nice area. You're gonna be living there.
Yeah.
That looks
I'm
nice.
trying to ride it out till I'm done with this. Till I get my freedom papers in 2029.
How many years would that be? 20 what?
What, 29?
Yeah, how many years?
Oh, it'd be about 26 total, I think.
Wow.
Excuse me. I had to take a pause on TikTok for a second. Might have a guest in a little bit. We might have a guest. So where are you gonna stop through here on your way out there, or?
Oh, you already know, man.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop through there, or try to get a TDY out there, man. We always got to go down to Knox for something.
Exactly. And
I'll just extend it over the weekend.
Okay, yeah, because I'm about to get the grill back started. I'm about to open J Glass House catering back up, and so it's gonna be that time.
Hey, I told you about those classes, man.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
Myra Acosta, welcome in on Instagram. We are on that platform also. I just wanted to point that out. So I remember you telling me that, but I sent some information to y'all Saturday that I gotta make moves on, and I wanna do some investment. So that's the main driver behind that. Rich, how have things been going?
Interesting. I had a conversation with a friend. I think he's on drugs.
Oh.
He told me that he went to San Jose, and now there's 32 days in the month for him. I said, well, when did all this happen?
What?
Because I didn't know there was 32 days in the month.
It's a new month.
32 days in the month. I said, well, I just came back from Phoenix and I had a man tell me there was 33 days in the month. So I don't know what's going on.
Who are you hanging around?
What's going, man?
All right, hold on.
So he told me my friend argued with me, made me feel insecure about myself, told me he was proficient.
Yes.
Yeah. Told me 32 days in a month. He refused to give that up. I said, I don't know what kind of math you're doing, but told me he's from San Jose.
Where is he from?
He's from Modesto. Yeah. And he was quite full of himself.
Yeah, Modesto had some
32 days in a month.
There must be some chemical spills out in Modesto, man. Something in that environment. I don't know. That's kind of that's different. 32 days in a month.
32 days in a month. I said, man, what kind of drugs are you on? I think you need some help.
I don't want him, I tell you that.
Yeah.
Right. He's not on the fun
what he was talking about. 32 days a month. He had a new way of calculating days in a month. Yeah.
And then, so that's how he doing it, huh?
That's what he tells me. He said he's proficient. He says everybody wants to think there's 32 days in a month, but very few can really do it. Okay.
Wow. I don't envy him.
Yeah, that's a new thing, man. I don't know about that one. 32. What was his justification for it?
Deuce, I don't know. I don't know. We argued, we talked about a great many things. He told me there was 32 days in the month.
And he stood on it.
He would not take no for an answer.
Did he show you a calendar?
I said, man, I don't know what school or what they initiated you into, but he shows talking ways above my head.
Did he show you a calendar at all, or how did he take? Do you remember how he came up with that? I'd love to hear it.
No, he didn't show me no calendar. He talking about he can't tell me this and he can't tell me that. He acting all secretive stuff. I don't know, dude. Yeah. Acting all secretive, but you telling me it's 32 days in a month. I'm confused.
Right. Yeah.
Readership. He told me need a light. I said, no, I don't need no light. You can see I got enough light on me.
I would have to agree with your initial stance, your initial statement when you first said something about him. He is on something.
He on something.
He on something heavy. He's on something heavy. And my gosh. Yeah. Anything else? What else you got going on outside of trying to duck your buddies that got 32 days and months?
I just did a video, did a live stream.
Mm-hmm. Hey, watch out now. Shannon went down that road with the live streams and videos, man. You might have some kids listening to this show, Rich. I don't know what you...
okay. Look, and I still say that what Shannon did was perfectly legal. She was 19 at the time. She's, all three of us have served or is serving a country where we'll take an 18-year-old and give him or her or they and no more they and them.
Yeah.
Allegedly, per the president, take an 18-year-old and give you honor. So he didn't do anything wrong. But I had to do a video that Gavin Newsom has transgendered the truth once again. And as a president of Local 1000, you're not going to take our money from us while under a signed contract. But as you know, I'm fighting to be reinstated. So, he was the reason why I was illegally removed. And so now he's saying that we're in a $767 million crisis. So, in America, you can make all kinds of allegations. Very rarely do you have to really back them up unless someone takes you to court.
Yeah.
So, I did a video and I said, all this rape is horrendous. because what he's doing is he's raping the union. But you know, when you allow someone to rape you and you know, sexually violate you, or in this case, financially violate you,
yeah,
then no doing it, and that's
I
why
mean,
I'm being reinstated.
these are dire times, Rich, because
Well,
you may or may not know America is currently under invasion. I know we'll
well,
talk about that later.
oh, yeah.
You did that.
Some I'm taking very seriously, man. We're being invaded.
You know what? You know, if America is under invasion, I just hope that we can protect those 50 or 55 Afrikaners. I mean,
At the top of the list.
yeah,
No.
We got to protect our most prized resource, which is the Afrikaans.
yeah, because the blacks in South Africa, bro, I don't know if I can even call them black. They're Africans, so you know,
Y'all are wild. Y'all are wild.
Hey, Glass, you better get on board with this, man. We got to protect the Afrikaans, man. We're under invasion, not from them, from others.
Well, with that being said, I want to go ahead and read the disclaimer, then we'll come back to you, Rich. Disclaimer: the views expressed are those held by the author and do not represent any other organization, company, corporation, or entity. So, yeah.
Well, my views represent Local 1000. I'm the president.
There you go.
They're watching and they want to take me to court saying that you don't represent Local 1000. Please take me to court. I'm already in court because I'm still the president. You didn't do your job because what you did was illegal.
That part
represents Local 1000. So I want them to take me back to court. We're already in court.
That part right there. And so let's go ahead and push over into where we're going tonight. The first of 3 topics that we will jump into is a $400 million gift that was given by a foreign country. I'm not going to say the POTUS because according to POTUS, it was given to the defense defense industry or complex or zoning or area. Secretary of Defense, right? However, after the current administration or the executive power of the current administration, if he doesn't run for a 3rd term, once he's finished, he's going to it's 400 million. I'm making a correction on it was okay. I got what you're saying. So just to make sure that you're tracking it, you can also come over to YouTube or Facebook to hop on the actual live. But back to that gift. So, given by a foreign nation that the president does have business ties to and is trying to get the PGA back over to, but put under the guise of the Secretary of Defense and will go to the presidential library once he is out of power. Ethical or unethical? Should he take it? Can he take it? Can we take it? Can we receive it? The implications of taking it. How much will it take to get it back to a classified status in which Air Force One is at? Is it or should it be taken? Because of the length of time it's actually taking Boeing to upgrade Air Force One or come out with new planes or whatever else they're doing. What is you all's take on the situation at hand?
So I think when you give it a gift, man, you got to take the gift, right? It's simple like not to take it, right? Listen, we've been through training.
Okay.
We go to the Middle East because the country is Qatar, right?
Qatar, yep.
So one of the things that they talked about was when they give you a gift, you have to take it, right? Because it's part of their society, it's part of their culture, right? So I think he's just being polite, going by his training, right? His cultural training, because he's a highly cultural individual, right? And he's gonna accept the gift on behalf of the government. And once his terms 2, 3, 10, when they're up and he decides to step down, he's doing America a favor by taking that plane off of government books because, as you just said, Boeing is slacking on updating the presidential fleet. So if he takes that off, America doesn't have to update that, man. So they won't be burdened with that. You know, mechanics they're always overworked, overstressed. So I think he's just doing America a favor, man.
Okay, so you think he's doing America a favor? Sarcastically, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I do want to say this one thing before I give up the mic. There was a time back, I want to say in the 70s, can't remember the exact year, the U.S. was working on building the embassy in Moscow.
Okay.
Using Russian workers. It was to try to smooth over the relations between us and Russia. When they went to inspect the building, because it was complete, they found bugs in every corner of the building. I'm not talking about roaches, listening devices.
No.
Right. And the building was built with faulty wiring, which will require Russian electricians to come and fix.
No.
Were going to be spies. So because of that, we decided to halt that agreement and said, we're not going to put an embassy here. You showed your hand a little too fast. So Qatar, being a Middle Eastern nation, we can assume how much they love America. I don't think it's too far-fetched for them to try to sneak some stuff into that plane, knowing that it's going to be used as replace Air Force One. I mean, that's just my take on it.
I don't disagree. I heard someone earlier in a different live on TikTok who made the claim that whatever airplane the president steps on, it automatically becomes Air Force One. Yeah. And it can't. It can't. It can be commandeered for the president, right? But it cannot become Air Force One because it doesn't have the capabilities to support the president's actual functionings, as well as if he's going to actually place orders.
No, they're gonna when they get the plane, they're gonna make it accommodate to where it's gonna be used as Air Force One. That's what it says.
It can be used as, but it can't become, right? So I can. It's like
it's gonna be the new Air Force One.
No. I'm not talking about the gift. I'm talking about any plane that the president would step onto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But since you said that, go ahead. Let's talk. Let's hear from you. What say ye?
I'm gonna have to agree with. Okay. Legally, is he gonna be able to pull this off? If the Congress doesn't approve it and someone takes him to the United States Supreme Court, then the Supreme Court will weigh in. From what I'm getting, super luxury Boeing 747 jumbo jet from the royal family of Qatar. It's a gift, but it's going to the Secretary of Defense, the Air Force. So President Trump can use it. And then when he leaves office, which is great because he's now saying he's leaving office.
He ain't say when.
He did not.
He might do another 10 terms.
Well, he's leaving. Okay. So he's claiming basically it's implied that he's going to leave office. The plane will be transferred to his presidential library. But, can they get it? The big problem is this. If Boeing, first of all, the current Air Force One, they say is too old. It's 1990. It's too old for the president to be flying around in.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then they say Boeing get a 2018 agreement to have the plane done by 24, no plane. But President Trump, has got an agreement with Qatar to do at least 150 Boeing planes to Qatar.
Now also remember, China sent back two or three Boeing planes as well. Just throwing that out there too. I can't remember the model of the plane, but they got sent back. So
if those 150 planes, that's a real contract for Boeing. And those people in South Carolina at the Boeing plant are excited because you're going to. But you couldn't do the first plane. You couldn't do new Air Force One for the president of the United States back in 2018. That was supposed to be done by 24. You failed.
Okay, and I can agree to that.
Yeah, so I don't understand.
Who was president in 2018?
President Trump.
Yeah, that's right.
He'll win re-election in 20, but the plane wasn't going to be ready to 24. The plane wasn't ready. Now they're saying that both these Air Force Ones are too old. I guess 1990 is too old for the president of the United States to fly around.
I will concede to that.
Oh, you will?
I will absolutely concede
so
to
when
that.
the consider how you doing, Zoe? So once a plane gets 10 years old or 15 years old, then it's too old?
It's outdated.
No,
it's outdated? Okay.
No. I'm not going to say that it's outdated for commercial use or civilian use, or even if we convert it to fly military members from point A to point B, right? APODs. What I will say, however, is because of how fast technology changes and the things that Air Force One needs to keep up with, I think that it is outdated at that point.
Okay.
And then another point that I was brought up was, yes, it's really brilliant to accept an air castle. The hate on the opposite side, I guess you could say, for lack of better words, is the fact that he's being bought over. And the ethical part is it okay for a foreign entity to give a gift to a president? But point in case, the Statue of Liberty, that was a gift. And it's been one of those things where what is the smart move here? It could be potentially a bribe. It could be potentially a spy situation if they don't go through with it. And then it's such a big plane that it's going to take some time to activate that, because of the fact that, you know, what Du said, that our American manufacturers are not to par in terms of what potentially we could manufacture.
We're not.
The question,
Boeing has doors falling off of planes, right? That was the Super Max, right?
Yeah.
I forgot what the Max thing, the update that Boeing put into the planes, but didn't tell anybody, that made the planes nosedive. That was Boeing.
What? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Malaysia Air and stuff. That was Boeing planes. Yeah.
I guess it's not Rolls Royce, right?
Nah.
Rolls Royce just builds engines, but they don't. You know, Lockheed Martin. What are the competitors out there? That's you know,
Airbus. Airbus is one.
So
Boeing, Lockheed. I don't know who the other big player is.
Nor do I.
A Drummond, Northrop, or whatever.
I don't know if they make planes.
Northrop, Gunn Northrop. I think that's the other one.
But I mean, I saw a little bit of the treatment that Trump got, and if you're anti-Trump, right? I'm neither nor. At this point, I've checked out of that game because you know, it's one of those things where, like, at the end of the day, I'm just a small-time American. The best thing that I can do is support the American value system. But there's, like, I feel like we step on our own toes. We are supposed to be the Americans, right? Throughout history, the Americans are the ones that bring hope, bring, you know, protection to the weak. But now it's like, because of this new leader that we have, he's just like the deal maker, the golden era. The marketing on this guy is like, yo, I'm signing deals. But when you see like this red carpet, it kind of shocked me. I don't know why, but I was just like, damn, Donald Trump is looking like a boss, you know? But then when he comes over here, I'm a Mexican. Like the other day, someone said, if you're not too careful, you might get deported, Joe. And in my mind, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, I'm an American. Why do I have to be on that conversation? That,
well, first off,
sorry, I'm a little on the.
Oh, you're fine, Zoe. But let me backtrack a little bit, especially because I've heard the argument about the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Who was the Statue of Liberty given to?
I believe the state, not the president, or no, to Garfield. Or what was that guy's name?
It wasn't given to one specific person, and that's the difference.
No.
It was a monument.
It was a monument. So that when people say that, you've got to take it into context. I don't disagree that it was a gift, but the question becomes, if it's a gift, who is it being gifted to? Because you just took us down a whole road with that. Also, remember, whenever dignitaries are visiting any other foreign nation, they're going to get the red carpet, and it's not because of a perceived notion so much for the person coming in, but it's to maintain a certain perception of the country that's receiving them.
It's a respect, and they love to respect guys.
It's not. Well, yeah, okay, yeah. But also, I don't know if you heard them playing the national anthem. It was rough to listen to, and I was like, clearly.
No, I did not hear it.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. I was like, surely they could have done something better than this. However, we like the president went over there to talk. It was an investment summit, right? He talk about investments. It wasn't for him to go over and begin to lambast other presidents. And when you do that in mixed companies, so what that means essentially is when you go and you lambast former presidents to other foreign nations, especially understanding their culture, they do not look kindly on that, because you will never hear them do that. That's not something that's received well from them. And so when I was listening to his investment summit and I heard him again reiterating points about how stupid the former president was, or how bad the deals were done previously, it's like, this is not going anywhere, and that's not what he was. That's not what the title for him to be there. It speaks to.
So did he kind of like? I didn't see everything because it's the news cycle of what's going on. It's kind of like, it feels kind of like, so when are we gonna like applaud ourselves? Like we're constantly criticizing every aspect of America right now. Like things are so expensive, and like you go to.
Was that him or is that me?
No, I think it's him.
What happened? Did I cut off?
There you are. Yeah, you did for a second.
So I mean, let me say that again. Things are so much expensive, and our economy feels like, when you check in the economy and it says we are winning, quote unquote, for lack of a better term. But then when you get your paychecks and you're trying to pay things up, you're just like, damn, how much more do I have to work to feel like to be free, right? Like,
oh man, you got that Obama connection.
Yeah, it's no matter what you do, the minute that you're trying to get ahead,
God,
you're already behind.
Up.
It's not it doesn't feel like a business friendly state, and everybody's moving to Texas, so it makes me.
So I'm gonna have to.
Really.
So you got to get into a better internet situation, man. You got to get to a better connection situation. You're going in and out on us. I want to hear exactly what you're saying without breaks, and I don't want to assume what you might be saying.
My headphone set gets disconnected, I believe. But let me just say that in a bubble, the thing that I just to reiterate.
All right.
Does the American people believe that we have the right leadership? That I feel like with this gift, it doesn't feel like it.
Not according to the polls. It's not even about the gift. The polls are showing that the American people are losing faith in the current administration.
I agree. It's kind of like the 100 days honeymoon of like, yes, it's gonna take time to get to feeling the winning. But I feel like it's been like administration and after administration, and it feels like we're barely catching our breath, because Manny said it the other day. The minute that you tune into the TV or the propaganda on both sides, it's latent to the point where, like, my neighbors, if I say anything about, like, let's say I was a liberal, or whatever, people are biting their tongue. We're so stressed about the aspect of when are we going to be unified as a whole.
And so here's the honest truth. And this is, again, people are being ostriches, and I don't understand why. The current administration ran on a platform of division. It was always a platform of division. And if you run on a platform of division and that's what you vote for, it's not all of a sudden going to be a formation of unification after division has been sown. Damn. And the people who were trying to make sure that we were going to be divided or united right? They were lambasted. They were run up under the table. They were told that you're stupid. A lot of people were verbally castrated, right? And that's the honest truth and unfortunate truth because of polls. And so now all of a sudden, since other people are feeling the heat of it, it becomes a kumbaya moment, and a lot of people are checked out. Like, no, we don't owe you that. But what you're owed right now is the experience of your consequences, and because we're not saving this country again. This country is going to have to go through what it's got to go through in order to get to where it's got to go.
Yeah.
If you voted from a position of hatred, well, damn it, that's what you did, and it's looking at yourself in a mirror. That's all it is. So it's not going to be a movement of unification until this administration is out and dissolved. That's the unfortunate truth about it.
Yes. I think the hardest part coming from a Hispanic, the hardest part is like the aspect of, hey, watch yourself. You might get deported.
But that's what was said before he got into office.
And you know what? I think we didn't realize how crazy that was gonna because it was about the bad hombres, the bad people.
Well, hold on, Zoe. Because the question is, who didn't believe? Who didn't believe it was going to be this bad? Because
I genuinely think that it wasn't gonna be this crazy. Like the fact that he's like, I'm gonna run for another presidency. I was like, wait a second, that can't happen anymore according to the rules. So
has he ever played by?
That's what's scary about this movement, that the people are like, let's just give them the keys to everything and bypass all the checks and balances. That's what gets me like feeling like,
so
no checks and balances.
The reason why, like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I am. Yeah. But this is just to remind the listeners that are here and the ones that are going to listen to this in the future. We did a series on Project 2025.
I remember.
Well in advance. And the same thing was said then that's being said now, which was, oh, no, he's just joking. Or he doesn't even know what that is. Right? And so now when I bring that point up, well, he didn't know what it was at the time. Well, yes, he did. Well, he said he didn't. He said a lot of stuff that absolutely was not true. So when are we going to remove the fallacy of, oh, he's just joking away from the conversation? Because every time he says something in jest, he begins to act on it. Every single time, not just that, but every time he accuses somebody else of doing something, he ends up being the person doing it.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
No.
No.
And
Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Anytime you use the word every, we go into a stereotype, and we don't stereotype on this show.
Tell me where I'm wrong.
Okay. When he said we're going to take over Greenland, we're not taking over Greenland. Okay. He said we're going to take over the Panama Canal. We're not doing.
Hold on. Let's go point for point. Let's talk about Greenland. He sent the vice president over there to begin that notion. So it's not that he did not try. He did not have conversations because he did. Right. Let's talk about the Panama Canal. I've got to do a little more digging. But as far as I've seen, the conspiracy theory rabbit hole has BlackRock purchasing it and being in charge of it at this point.
Right. Back to the Greenland situation.
Okay.
What Donald Trump does, he talks a lot. He gets people riled up. So if he only wants 2, he takes it to 10, and then he negotiates to a 2. It's just a hustle.
I don't disagree with that.
So is that a New York thing then?
No, that's a
him thing.
All he wanted was, I think, the Dutch control Greenland. And so what he was trying to do was get control of Greenland for the mineral resources.
Yeah.
He's not going to get that. Now, will the Dutch cut him a deal? Possibly. So he does a lot of talk. Remember I said he did all that talk against China. Now they've done a 90-day break on the tariffs. And I said, he comes across as, the great white savior of America. and now you want to cut a deal with a minority country that has just as much strength as you. But I thought you were superior to all other countries. I thought America would. But now it appears that maybe we're not so superior. And so now I'm starting to wonder, why'd you even bring people like me over here for? Because you tried to convince us that you were superior. And now you're backing off from China? Then why'd you even engage in China to begin with? Unless you just wanted to get a better deal. So you had to go way over the top. Now you're going to come back to the media, to the middle of the road, and get the deal that you wanted to begin with. But you were afraid to negotiate from the middle of the road. So you went way. So in other words, if I wanted $100, I'm going to beg for 1,000. Then I'm going to negotiate back down to 100, and then I call it a victory.
But what is sacrificed in between?
Mm-hmm.
Let's catch anything and everything.
Is it perhaps the dollar faith of people colluding into the dollar dropping in value? Because this week I saw that the Mexican peso reached almost 18 pesos per dollar, which hasn't been like that in like a very long time. That means that the peso got stronger and the dollar got weaker. And so when I told my family, I was like, oh snap, something's happening. I don't understand it, the economics, but as soon as that happened, like Pakistan and India were going at it. Now they're not going at it. So there's a lot of things that are like, it's kind of like a volcano thing. If something erupts, it affects somewhere else because the economics are all tied together. I guess we want to create made in America stronger so we can depend on ourselves. But we've been sucking on the China titty or tits. I don't know how you say it.
Teat.
For so long that I feel like China said, hey, if you mess with us, we're going to sell all your debts to somebody else at a much higher rate. Well, and we can do that. Yeah. I believe. I'm not too sure.
No, because that's what they've told us. But see, we've been having this argument for the last 6 to 8 months. Your money is created out of thin air.
Oh,
so here we go. Come.
I'm going to take your debt and I'm going to sell it to Mexico. I'm going to sell it to Great Britain.
Okay, Rich, if it wasn't such a big thing, Trump wouldn't be so focused on these tariffs.
Hold on a second.
Right? Because that's paid for with his fake money.
It is fake money. Here's the thing. If you take America's debt, China says, I got like 40% of your debt. And now I'm going to sell it to the Congo or Ghana or Nigeria or any other country, or maybe Mexico.
Yeah.
We're going and sell it. And now they got the debt. Maybe I'll pay them the debt, maybe I don't. But at least with China, they got enough military to put the fear of God into where maybe I want to pay that debt. But if you sell it to the Congo or somebody else who doesn't have a nuclear weapon, I ain't paying you.
Oh, Rich, that's a far out thing. You're daydreaming now, Rich. You're daydreaming because
any country who doesn't have a nuclear weapon.
I'm gonna break down an argument though, because you're saying let's use the Congo. China sells the debt to the Congo, right? Then on the other hand, you say Congo doesn't even have a nuke because they're not a powerful country. So in that point, the Congo is too poor, too weak to afford the U.S. debt, right? So if China were to sell the U.S. debt, that other country would have to be able to afford said debt, thus be a major player in the game. I don't think there's another country on earth that can do it.
Here's where your intelligence gets played back on you. If your money is created out of thin air, it's all off the perception because it's fiat. You're not on the gold standard anymore. Then it doesn't matter how much debt you create as long as somebody's willing to accept it. And this is where the Democrats are actually correct, in my opinion. As long as somebody, listen, if you say, well, my car outside is only worth $100, but I come to you and say, I'll give you 1,000. It's all in perception. So their perception of the value of money, this is the value of, quote, the white man's superiority.
There's a ledger that keeps the balance of the debt, Rich.
Well, hold on. Let me ask this question.
Money, when they created the money, when the Fed told the Treasury, print up this much money, It wasn't backed by anything. It's just backed by the idea that who's spending on the money? Older white men. So they have a perception of they know what they're doing. They have allies here in America with a central bank, in England with a central bank. I think it's in France and a few other countries, including China. They all have central banks.
And so there's a part that you spoke in there that I do agree with you on, and that's the fiatness of the dollar. However, taking your example of a vehicle, somebody gives you offers $100 and somebody gives you 1,000. Isn't it, if it was just based off of perception, wouldn't it be possible for that $100 to be valued more than the 1,000?
I'll take it to another. I don't know what that example, but the crypto. When people say the crypto, that's just garbage because nobody believes in the perception that the crypto is real because it's not really real. But your money that we put so much faith and stock into because people will accept your money. So that's why I said, if I go out here and rob a liquor store and they say, well, what money do you want it in? I want it in the US dollar because the US dollar, the perception is America's money will always be its number one currency. It's its number one tangible good. All across the world. So if you go to Brazil,
you can't say it's fake on one argument and now say that it's tangible in another argument.
Couldn't I make the same argument with gold?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a rock.
Gold is what people say it's worth.
Yeah.
But gold went up. Gold went all the way up recently.
No,
but it's what people say it's worth. It's what the market, the supply, the demand, the speculation, all that stuff.
So much gold. So you can print as much money as you want, but you can't print up gold because
but there's still gold under the ground.
Yeah.
No,
this ain't 21 million bitcoins. There is still gold under the ground all over the world. So you can, in theory, mine gold and bring that gold up out of the ground and have more gold.
But that's in theory. It doesn't work.
No, it's not what you mean. It's not. Is there gold in the ground?
No, because hold on a second. If that was the case, Lynn, if that was the case, we would have never gone off the gold standard to begin with. They took us.
Are you saying there's no more gold underground on this planet?
Answer
my question, please. You got to answer my question first.
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Do you believe that?
What I can answer.
Do you believe it?
Gold is limited.
I'm not asking you what you know anymore. I'm not asking you what you know anymore. I'm asking you what you believe, and you believe something.
That was a cold-blooded response, Rich.
Is this? They took us off the gold standard so they can print up money without having any accountability.
I understand that. Now, can you answer my gold in the ground question, please?
I don't know how much gold is in the ground.
I didn't ask that. Do you believe there's an ounce of gold under the ground anywhere on this planet? Yes or no?
I don't believe. I don't know.
You keep answering a no question. I'm not asking you what you know. I'm asking you what you believe.
That's cold-blooded.
I'm asking you what you believe.
But in the same relevance, we don't function off the gold. The dollar is backed up by petrodollar.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
The dollar is backed by perception. So when the markets think we're going good, it goes up.
But all business transactions are done with the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar.
Wait. Well, then if it's just a perception, it's okay for him to get this plane.
That's correct.
I believe so. I think it's okay for him to get a $399, $500 million castle. I ain't mad at that.
No, that's not. Listen, this is why I jumped on here. This is a simple question. No. You can't have a 400. You know what? I was reading a letter today. When Obama got elected, he was still a senator in November. This woman found out that they were going to get a dog for the White House.
Yeah.
So the woman sent a children's book about dogs as a gift. And guess what Obama's people did?
Send it back.
They sent it back with a letter. Thank you very much.
Right.
But this president will not be accepting any gift of any size or value so that he can always remain above board and no one can have any of those types of ties to him.
Absolutely.
A children's book.
Yes.
Guys,
I will never dispute
the American politics system is based on give me, take, give me, take.
But here's
every single presidency or politician has been somehow gifted something either in public or behind the scenes.
Well, this is public, so let's keep it public.
I understand, but
keep it public. Give me the Biden public gifts, please.
But I'm saying overall, if okay, that right now, if let's just say, if it wasn't Qatar, what if it was our friendly, loving British people that gave them the
Give us one Biden gift, just one.
So
ice cream.
By here,
who gave him ice cream?
Everywhere he went, he got
ice cream.
Hold on, Zoe.
Justice drafted an analysis for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, concluding that it is legal for the Department of Defense to accept the aircraft as a gift and later turn it over to the Trump library.
When has that ever happened?
He just drafted that? You
when has that ever happened? Where's the precedent?
You said that was just created?
Pete Hegseth is a drunk. Where's the precedent?
The views expressed on this.
No, that's my view. That is not the view of the family bloodline. That's my view. He's an alcoholic.
I got the disclaimer moving. So I agree with you on that, Lynn, because I don't know what the precedence is in order for them to be.
There is none. There is none.
It's never happened in this fashion, and so for them to spin their wheels and for an attorney general to sign off on that, this is
Guess what she used to be. Guess what she used to be.
What she used to be.
The lobbyist for the country called Qatar or Qatar, however you want to have tomato.
Yeah.
She used to lobby for that country.
And so this is why Forbes came out and said anybody that's on this administration will not be hired at any of the Fortune 500 companies. Right? I don't know if y'all saw that. Because
remember what I said about nobody wants Trump as their CEO at their own job?
Yeah.
That's why.
This was a thing because they begin to demolish things, and ethics. There is no such thing as ethics, morals, or any by federal standard. We can't give each other gifts more than $20. So whenever
25, I think
25 in insurance, in the insurance world, $25.
Yeah.
Even when we do gifts, like just for like a white elephant, the norm is $20 and under. On purpose and for a reason as federal employees, right?
Yep.
And I'd be a fool to walk in there and be like, well, I can buy this gift. I'm going to donate it not directly to Deuce, but I'm going to donate this $800 gift to to support the family care program. But I also need a few things shaken out of your tree. I'm not giving it to you directly, but I need you to put out a few taskers to get on these commanders' heads.
So wait a minute, hold on. And you just walk into the trap.
There is no
trap. Listen, if what he's doing is so wrong, then it's going to go to the United States Supreme Court. But the United States Supreme Court already told you with the Citizens United, you can donate as much as you want to a super PAC to get somebody elected.
But this isn't a super PAC.
This is not a campaign fund.
Yeah, it's not.
Hold on. But the standard is still the same.
I don't know what it is.
In other words, we know that if you allow someone to donate to a super PAC to spend endless counts of money, it's going to hurt a poorer candidate than a wealthier candidate. We all know that.
But again, the Supreme Court ruling is for American citizens and the corporations that function inside of America. This is a foreign country that's donating, so they're not considered. The Supreme Court didn't rule that foreign country.
Defense.
Say again.
Qatar is giving a gift to the Department of Defense. It's not going to President Trump.
And I got that. I understand that. Regardless of who it's coming from,
will he benefit from it?
And that's
well. Let me ask you this, guys.
This is a good point, Rich.
What are we afraid of, or what gets us upset? What is Qatar's benefit for doing this?
$500 million. I can't remember the exact price, but the PGA being sent back over there, as well as Trump Tower being built, as well as other personal deals, the crypto coin that he has that they've purchased also. So there's multiple different things, and
Eric
Eric
make on the
Adams
back
also.
end
Don't forget about Eric Adams.
Money.
He got in trouble.
Yes,
for Qatar also. So that's a good question. What is
Eric
Qatar
Adams
getting
was
out
Turkey.
of all of this?
Hey guys.
Eric Adams was Turkey.
Hello.
Yeah, but I thought he had some dealings with Qatar. I got to go back and look, but yeah, directly he was Turkey. That's the
Turkey.
Turkey. Never mind. My bad.
But overall, after his presidency is done, he's basically going to get a sweet backdoor deal, and that's basically like the thing that is unethical per se to receive such.
Wait, hold on, Zoe. I'm gonna take it to you about the unethical. Everyone, and I'm not defending Trump, but here's the thing. In both houses, leaders, legislators can vote on bills that they have stock directly in. Until you clean up that situation, you're always going to have a situation of politicians making money while in government. So even though we can point the finger at Donald Trump because he's probably doing it more boldly than the others, but the fact is, as long as you have federal legislators voting on bills that they have stock in, then you're going to have corruption in the U.S. government. Yeah. So this whole idea of the Doge trying to clean up corruption, that's nonsense. That's garbage.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a switch of rules going on. Where
broker about it, he's like, hey, I'm getting this corruption money. I'm showing you guys up front, above board. Yeah. Whereas to Rich's point, a lot of them got to do it underneath the scenes, even though super PACs. Yeah, that's a fair point. Say Lynn's multi-millionaire creates a super PAC. No one says where he gets his money from to donate to that campaign. Qatar could have went back door, gave $400 million to Lynn to give to Glass if he was a candidate running, right? So there were ways that they hit it. Trump's like, bro, I'm doing this in the open.
I mean, if I'm running,
but committing a crime in the open is
still a crime.
Something that needs to be checked.
Yeah.
But okay, guys, look, let me say this:
serial killers ain't killing people out in the open.
The thing is
as soon as that happens, where they going?
This relationship, right? Qatar might be great gift people. They give like this, and like if I'm a friend, right, and I'm in politics, and I'm coming in like I want to get the presidency, and I want to be friends with Qatar because they seem to be knowing how to take care of somebody like me. Don't you guys think that it looks awesome to be friends with this nation that like gives this sort of treatment to like? I heard that recently. What that world is trying to do is literally be the most technical, most advanced countries in the world because the way that they're building is incredibly expensive, luxurious. Like if people say all the time, oh, I'm over here and with the super rich, super rich, uber rich. We don't even know what that means. Like $500 million airplane. We have no idea what that means. We're like me as a worker, $500 million, bro, like a gift. That's what I don't understand. You know, why so much? Why does this matter? What does that mean for us? What does that mean for you guys that are on the inside track of, you know, everybody that's in that track gets super rich. Point in blank, Pelosi. That lady has made so much backdoor deals. So many stock investments and so many stocking situations that are very iffy. And not only that, she's a terrible human being because of what she's done to the Bay Area. She's been in control. She's been in power. And that's why I think the left and the right conversations, they don't really tally up to what we really need. Like if there was a common denominator of do nots and do's, after so many years, we should have a consensus. Don't be an asshole. Right?
Oh man, this is the wrong country to try and win over a bleeding heart. We didn't start that way.
Yeah, we did not.
So that's something that it's the American dream, which is one of the reasons why they want nobody to be woke, because they don't want anybody to see what they're actually doing while everybody else is sleeping.
For real.
So I wish we could ride out with some form of moral decorum in our political system, but that's not what it is. It never has been, and it never will be, unfortunately.
Didn't we just see Santos get sentenced to prison?
Yes, we did.
Didn't we just see Bob Menendez, who had gold bars and cash scattered all over the crib, get sentenced to prison?
Yeah.
Oh no, look, when you do it up front, out in the open, and you get caught, just like college sports. Before NIL, how was it getting done?
Hey, but
cash in a gym bag, dropped off at the Greyhound station at 2000. You know, that's how it was getting done. But ain't nobody coming to a press conference and handing a kid, here's a bag of cash.
Right.
Welcome to the the University of Michigan. That's not how it's done.
But you talking about Mendez and who was the other guy? Santos, right?
Yeah.
The last names, right? Latin descent.
No. Oh, so you
to Zoe's point, why hasn't Nancy gone on there for insider trading?
Because you ain't done. You listen, because everybody's saying she's doing this behind the scenes or whatever. Don't forget, people think that Martha Stewart went to jail for insider trading.
So hold on.
Sorry, Hunter, I didn't mean to turn her up. Sorry.
That's not why she went to jail.
What was it?
She lied to the feds and obstructed justice.
Wait, hold on now. I thought it was insider trading.
See, here's the thing. That's what led it. They couldn't prove insider trading.
Okay.
But once you lie to the Fed, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
It is a wrap. Ask Marion Jones. They never really had her on the drugs.
Right.
But they had her on something bigger than that. But the drugs have more sizzle in 6 months' time.
But let me address this, guys, because I feel like the double standard is so legit. If you are, I'm gonna just go and say it. If you are, if you have a name that's completely white, let's say Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner did all kinds of craziness, and recently, all we're gonna be hearing is about Diddy, right?
I don't know, because Cassie kind of blew it today, not today, but the other day.
What's Harvey Weinstein?
The witness.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that there's two lanes. The lane for the minorities, and let's just say if we ever get to that kind of table where like you get boatload of money just by being, hey, check this and vote for this, and you get to have your happy American dream, but some shystiness is going down, you sell out. And then there's the other side as well. Like if you're a minority and you are doing the same kind of business as your white counterparts, or Caucasian counterparts, I should say, excuse me, you're not going to get the same kind of lane. You know?
The judge in Wisconsin.
And I'm not condoning Diddy or Hugh Hefner.
Right.
But I think those are just examples of Hugh Hefner was a super freak, and so was Diddy. And so, like, as Americans, we're supposed to be judging that Diddy is the absolute monster. I'm not saying that he's not, but then at the same time, Hugh Hefner, we idolized Hugh Hefner growing up. Playboy. If someone calls you a playboy,
everyone on the panel speaks French. Don't say we.
I'm just saying, like, there was a point in time where, like, what's up, Playboy? That was like a thing. But okay, so going back to this situation where, like, let's just say, can Barack Obama ever, like, let's say Barack Obama, he was gonna get a $400 million gift. He would never do that.
No, he wouldn't do it.
In jail.
He wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't do it because of the fact that certain people get a free license to do this sort of thing. And say these sort of things. Can you imagine if Barack Obama was talking about, I'm gonna be the third running presidency? Bro, everybody would be like, this is not
because some people follow the rules and some people say, forget the rules. I believe what happens is when these big white dudes get in trouble, we don't write their names down.
Yeah.
I could finish this show with white dudes who ran afoul of the law and are in jail. But we kind of forget them, and we hold on to Bill Cosby.
Mm-hmm.
We hold on to Diddy. We hold on to, Santos and Menendez and all that other stuff. We hold on to all those people.
Even the whole aspect
2 or 3 times as many white men who have run afoul and going to jail for this kind of nonsense.
So wait a minute. So if you go look at the death row, and I bring this up a lot.
Not death row. See, stop. We talking what collar? What color collar we talking
about?
Crime. White collar. Don't go to death row.
All right.
Don't deflect. Don't divert. Don't make a tangent. I'm talking about the white collar, in your face crime. They got you. You're guilty. You're going. Period.
Not necessarily. I don't believe that at all. Absolutely not. Not necessarily equally. No. And
see, you put a word. I didn't say equally, because it's not equal.
Okay.
It's not equal. More white men get convicted of white collar crimes than all the other ones combined.
Yeah, that's
but there's more white people. But there's more white people in America.
Okay.
Okay.
But the point is, we sit up here and act like they do it and don't get in trouble.
So
that's not true.
Hold on. So when we talk about there's more white people in America than there are black people. So when they said there's more black people in prison, I want to know what's the percentage of black people, black men, next to our demographic versus white men next to their demographic. So in other words, if there's only 50 black people in America, and they said there's more black people in jail, well, what's that ratio of black people in jail to those 50 total black people versus a total number of white people with white people in jail? That's
Richard. Can I say, Richard, the main reason why there are so many black men in jail is their representation.
Yeah.
Most of them went to jail because they were represented by a what?
It costs money to be free.
A public defender.
Yeah, you got to pay up to be free.
Yeah.
And that's my point. My point is, another example, the NFL situation with Deion Sanders' son. Everybody thought they was going to be number one. He didn't go number one because supposedly he was arrogant.
No, not number one. You mean first round.
First round. But
he
couldn't get it because he was cocky or he was a distraction. The talent supposedly wasn't there. But to be honest with you, I've seen number one draft picks become like Manziel, that dude from the Browns. These dudes that were number one draft picks and they were total losers. And they were able to get those situations. But because of the fact that if you are a brown-skinned individual and you portray your power too much, America has a way of like saying either we love you or we hate you. We love to hate you or we love to love you. And there's seasons of that. Like,
did Shedeur even have an agent? I don't think Shedeur had an agent.
One in the draft.
I don't think he had an agent.
Who was drafted number one in the draft?
But the point being here is that he was.
Who?
Let me say this. He was not playing the part of like, look at me. I got big chains. I got big money. I'm going to change the game.
Can you say his name?
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward. Yeah. Nobody knows his father's name. I'll tell you. His father's name is Calvin. But people, once again, they're screaming racism, but the number one dude in the draft looks like me.
I think with
but Shedeur, he didn't move like the other one.
I think Shedeur, Lynn, to your earlier point, representation. I don't think Shedeur had an agent.
No, Deion was his agent.
Shiloh didn't get drafted either until after he got an agent. He wasn't drafted, but he got picked up by a team after he got an agent. Someone who's an expert in that field.
Drew Rosenhaus.
Oh, Drew, yeah, he got and Drew.
Drew Rosenhaus can get you on any team.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So you're saying that when the Browns selected Shedeur Sanders, he had got an agent by that time?
No, he's talking about Shiloh. He's talking about the brother.
He fired his dad.
I'm saying is part of Shedeur's slide.
Shiloh was undrafted.
But part of Shedeur's slide is, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't have an agent either.
That was part of it because the agent is the one that can talk to these teams and deflate all that cockiness and all that other stuff that was out there.
It's a consensus. There was collusion. There was a consensus.
No.
Everybody.
He didn't hire an agent. No one stopped him from hiring an agent.
I know the game. He's one of the most.
Did you work in the NFL?
Athletes.
Did you work in the NFL?
He was one of the most phenomenal athletes ever, and he knew that they G'd him.
Shedeur?
What?
Shedeur?
What the hell?
The aspect that he was trying to be on the aspect that he was going to be a winner in the NFL. Maybe number one, number two, number three, but still in the first round. When they put him all the way to where they put him and they threw him into the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, it was kind of like a silent whistle. If you act this way, you're going to get this kind of treatment because the ownership is not looking like us. It's manifested by people that don't look like us. So obviously, what I'm trying to say is that if you're a minority and you're a vocal leader, you're not supposed to be like that. Point in case, all our leaders that were minorities, if they were too vocal, they got in trouble. But if you see, I don't know, like right now, the leader that we have, he can't get in trouble, and he's very like the pimp. He is the man. He does what he wants. And because can you imagine what if Donald Trump was black? Could we have that? No, we couldn't have that. We couldn't have that. We can't have that. And there's a silent whistle of like, play your part. Certain people get away with other things. Certain people don't. If you try to play with that silent line or blurry line, you are not going to be able to get the same benefits because this is not your country. It never was. It will never be. I'm still hearing statements of you might get deported because of the way I look, because of the propaganda. So my point in case is I understand that the American dream is based on only the strong survive. And if you don't have your cojones in place, you will get chewed out. I think overall, whether you're left or on the right, the American people has to be in gritty situations and pull yourself out, because there's not much excuses for yourself. You know, you try to act the wrong way, you might get the book thrown at you. And that's the consensus, I believe. If you don't have this permission, you can't. And if you do enter our circle, you're going to be treated as such. You can't be that much of a leader, not more than us, because this is our country. That's how I feel currently in this moment of like, what does it mean to be an American?
So what you just said, what Lynn is saying, nobody is completely wrong and nobody is completely right. Because both things can be correct. Because you have to, at some point, you can't always scream racism. You have to put your best foot forward and compete in this capitalist country. Mm-hmm. And so, if this country was created off the labor of the enslaved African and on the treatment of the southern part of America going westward, and all the broken treaties with Native Americans, then you get what you get. So I understand exactly what you're saying, and I understand what Lynn is saying.
Here's what I'm saying. If your distraction is higher than your talent, you're going to get dealt with. Period. That's what we're seeing. And because we can't make that assimilation and decode that, we're looking for something easy like, oh, racism. Oh,
colorism. He performs.
Oh,
it even changes the game.
Here, let me give you. It's not valid. Zoe, let me help you out. So, he has the highest completion percentage in college football history, right? Mm-hmm. Dig into the number. 35% of his completions were screen passes. Now,
one player.
Don't matter. It doesn't matter. That's the analytics that the pros are looking at. It's only 32 of those positions. Shedeur Sanders can get a coach fired if he doesn't come in and perform.
Yeah.
Now, some coaches have more stable ground than others. And if you're not thinking that way, you're going to be one of the 32 coaches that gets fired in January. That's a fact. I have worked with the NFL and in the NFL and with NFL teams, NFL benefits, all of that. Mm-hmm.
That's something that I didn't seek or consider. My whole thing is that when I see those things, it reminds me of what Barry Sanders used to do, which is like you get in the end zone and act like you've been there. And there is that side of the NFL loves that aspect of, hey, maintain yourself. You are a worker. You're not that much of a superstar more than the team. The player's not more important than the team. The team, it has to be the most important thing.
Okay. I'm going to let you finish this, Zoe. I'm going to let you finish this and we're moving off sports because that's not what this was about.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Overall, I think it's just certain people get certain permission slips. That's basically what I'm saying.
Okay. But what we are talking about, because this is a direct correlation, when certain things are taken away from you and you don't have the ability to represent yourself, if you don't have an agent, it's just like going into court
without a lawyer.
Well, not even being able to get to court. Habeas corpus. If habeas corpus is eliminated, you don't even get a chance to defend yourself. And so I want to show this real quick. This is let me show this one. Give me a second. It's from an article from the New Yorker. And my goodness, I told y'all, like this dude right here, I can't stand this motherfucker. He's one of the worst people ever, in my opinion. Yep, that's it. This guy right here.
Oh, Stephen Miller.
Stephen Miller, talking about habeas corpus as if it was something that simply just so so I was wrong. I think a week or two ago, probably last week, when I said that there are no more rules. Well, I wasn't wrong when I said there are no more rules, but something that y'all said was absolutely correct, right? Which is we are a country with laws, right? Because we are. So what they're doing, and goes back to what the point that Zoe was trying to make also, is it's not that they don't understand that there are laws. They just simply think that the laws are suggestions. It's just another obstacle to get out of their way. And when people like the White House Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller, begins to decry that habeas corpus is something that can be looked at and checked and we can possibly do away with it because essentially we're being invaded, and begins to make these type of assertions against our constitutional rights, it becomes so dangerous that it's hard for me to actually put it in words.
It gets blurry.
It's not that it's blurry. It's not blurry. It's not blurry. It's
but what I'm saying is they're making things blurry for us as citizens.
No, they're not. They're making things blurry for people who buy and believe their bullshit. Right? That's all. Make no mistake about it.
Well, hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Hold on. So we go back in the history of habeas corpus.
Yes.
President Lincoln.
Hold on, I got you. I know exactly where you're finna go with that, and I was waiting for this to come up. But go ahead.
1861, he had to suspend it during the American Civil War, and then they had to do it again to deal with the Klan. Following the Civil War, during Reconstruction, they had to do it to deal with the white supremacists, the KKK. Now, and they also did it with the Pearl Harbor and over Hawaii. So they have used it before. If you're saying in modern day, do we need to use suspending the habeas corpus in modern day times?
Hell no. That's scary as hell.
Right. And so this is what you were talking about right here, Rich. Right. And I get what you're talking about. But the moments, the times, and the places where this was enacted had absolutely nothing to do with where we are now. Okay. It doesn't even look like what we're going through now as a country. This is a part of rewriting history, of of pushing information out because the simple-minded will actually accept the bullshit. Unfortunately, people who don't do a lot of reading, because
it's like 1798. Come on.
Look, exactly right. The whole thing about deporting people in the first place. And this is why I have an issue with what they're trying to do. I'm not going to read this article. I'll read something else a little bit later, and I'll read the definition of habeas corpus, and we'll go through that so that there's no blurred lines, so that there aren't any blurred lines. And it's not that people don't. Well, actually, it is. There are a lot of ignorant people, right, that are out here, and that's something that I'm learning how to deal with and grapple with.
That's the most difficult challenge.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what his racist ass is doing is being insidious. He's insidious, and he's a piece of shit for it. There is no invasion happening on American soil. If there was, I wouldn't be sitting here on this fucking computer right now. I guarantee that. I guarantee that there would be soldiers at active federal installations that would be parsed out and moved around the country in order to defend the country from a direct invasion.
But that's your definition. That's your definition.
My definition. That is the law of the land.
No,
that is not true. That is not true. I can't let you say that. I cannot let you insert that. That's my definition of invasion.
It is your definition. It's a military invasion. But
no. When we're talking about an invasion in the way that they are trying to move the target, I don't want anybody to make this. Listen, he's trying to say that we're being invaded by immigrants, by motherfuckers who have no weapons. It's not because of drugs, because Americans are drug addicts anyway. So that's not the reason either. He's simply trying to destroy the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. He's going after habeas corpus. They're going after due rights. And it's right after that, Zoe, the reason why you should be afraid and why people are telling you exactly where to get off is because that's their fucking end.
No, that is their end. That's totally their end. And that's scary.
To the border. Hold on a second, Zoe. If you have that many people crossing into the border, for some Americans, that's a damn invasion.
Well, then they need to take their asses somewhere else and stop being fucking scared.
No, they don't. Because that's our freedom of speech.
This is not an invasion.
From veteran to veteran.
Invasion on American soil.
For some people,
I will argue this point with you all day. There is no invasion just because somebody.
For some people, if you let that many people into your country, that's an invasion. For some people,
single shit.
That was for me. But for some people, yes, that's an invasion. That's why he got reelected. Because that's what he was telling people. That's what they voted for.
In the military. That's what
they voted for. That's what the country that you and I serve. That's what they voted for.
That bullshit. Miss me with all of that.
That's what they voted for.
That is not.
That's what they voted for.
No, it ain't. That's not what they voted for. They voted for hatred.
He not only won the electoral college, he won your popular vote. He sold that. Whether it was right or whether it was wrong.
For the Constitution of the United States of America to be.
You know what? You know what?
In the way that it is.
We will see.
That is a horribly disingenuous comment. That is an irresponsible comment.
Bullshit.
Some people,
no, the United States Supreme Court.
People. If this was a country that was ruled by some people, well, then we'd already been in a.
Why is Mr. Garcia back on U.S. soil?
Right.
That's the United States Supreme Court made a decision.
Just because somebody is scared of somebody of other skin color.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. The United States Supreme Court made a ruling.
What did the Supreme Court say that we're being invaded right now?
They made a ruling. They said facilitate.
When did they say that we are being invaded right now?
Okay. We will see that if you are right, that they're trying to illegally.
When did they say that we are being invaded?
Well, hold on a second.
When and where did anybody say, Supreme Court, congressman, senator, president, who said that we are being invaded right now outside of Stephen Miller, who said that bullshit first?
Correct. If you are correct.
That's not an if. I am correct on this one.
The immigration czar did say that.
We'll go to the U.S. Supreme Court and they will make a ruling that says that we're not being invaded.
We are not being invaded. Everything does not have to be taken to the Supreme Court.
Should they have to make a ruling?
Richard, when you saw,
we have to take it to the Supreme Court. Does a very horrible job on everybody else's intelligence. The Supreme Court are not the most smartest people in the world or in the room. Let's not make any mistake about it. I can walk outside. I live in Kentucky. I can walk outside. I can walk to the corner. I can walk to the gas station. I can walk to Fort Knox. And I guarantee one thing, I won't see an invasion happening. You can walk outside your door. You can walk to your state capitol. This ain't January 6th. You can walk to your corner store. And I guarantee you will not see an invasion.
I agree.
Anybody in any state in the United States of America can go anywhere they want to. You can drive these highways left and right. And I guarantee
you do not agree with you.
I don't give a shit if they don't agree with me.
People said,
because they agree with me don't make it right.
That's important. We believe that so many people are crossing illegally. Whether you want to call it an invasion or just crossing illegally, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day,
then those people who believe that need to go ahead and roll over and die.
Damn. Well, you know what? In this great country, you have that freedom.
And I will say that tomorrow, and I will say that for forever.
Keep him off the ballot.
To let a piece of shit person like Stephen Miller scare you into trying to change your definition of what invasion is. We
this is what I feel like that guy.
If this is Pearl Harbor, I can understand. I can understand. The problem is we have historical precedent.
Gentlemen,
we have historical movements of what an invasion looks like.
They tried to shoot him in July of 24.
There is nothing. That's still, regardless of whether or not I accept the assassination as being real or false, has nothing to do with what an invasion is. It has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with that.
But overall,
it's a fear tactic. That's overall, the issue.
Let me ask you guys this.
That's true. That's true too.
Let me ask you guys this. I only know a little bit of this Miller gentleman, right? But the little bit that I've heard him speak, he reminds me of a Goebbels, the dude that was right next to Hitler. Goebbels. He's got this rhetoric, and the fact that I hear James talking about devolving or watering down an amendment that is extremely important for any citizen or any human being to have human respect, because it's one of the most important amendments that we have. The consensus and overall visions that we see, me per se as a Hispanic, is that because of all the imagery of people crossing the border, not respecting any of the laws at hand, James is correct. Those people were probably very little compared to what the actual term an invasion resonates as. They're not really a threat until politicians use that against us, that we should be fearful for this new invasion. But what James is saying is that we're playing with our foundational powers as Americans. And if a gentleman comes in and starts changing those, parameters of, per se, I want to be a third president, or per se, take habeas corpus out of the conversation, not only is that going to eventually start affecting U.S. citizens, it's already putting me, per se, I already got my wife deported one time. But to have people say, if you're too opinionative, Alonzo, you may be put on this little radar that you're anti-American. So history repeats itself. Unfortunately, the division, even right now, I saw it between you guys arguing about something.
That's an argument. There's no division.
I know, but overall,
hold on, Zoe. I don't want that to be mistaken, right?
Okay.
Just because there's a disagreement doesn't mean that there's a division. But
the strong feelings behind those things are so.
What the hell? I didn't do that.
Did you deport him?
That's horrible, Lee. That's horrible.
I'm just asking a question.
No, but Richard, let's go back to what you were saying about their definition of invasion. Show me, and I will pick any definition on this screen to scroll through.
Hold on, let me go look up the word. Wait a minute.
Now look on the screen.
Look, I got it on the screen.
He wants you to answer based on what's on the screen.
No, my eyes are too bad. I can't see it.
Okay. Yeah, he's using his phone.
So
it wasn't me, so I don't know what happened, man.
I'm going to Wikipedia.
So I guess in a nutshell, because I know I digress.
No, we lost you for a second. Hold on.
Oh, so overall, in a nutshell, what I would wish is a beautiful leader that cohesively brings us together. Because once the American dream is consensus, is united on all, let's just say the majority of the consensus of where we want to be or who do we want to be as a nation and who represents us. Yes, there's a lot of embarrassing things that lately these leaders say, and we can't believe it. But I'm wondering, is it the Truman Show? What is real and what is not? What is really going to affect me? What is going to really affect you guys? Every state is different, and every community does, like, the local laws are the best thing about our country. We can literally, if we don't like someone, we can literally start a promotion of, we don't like this guy, get this guy out.
So we're so far past that, though, right? Again, yes. You're wanting to use the kumbaya moment that ended November 6th. That's what you're doing. It's gone.
But we're never gonna. That's what I'm saying. We're getting away from the American value system. That's what I'm saying. Like,
well, then answer this, right? Define the American value system.
I feel like the American value system is based on God, family, country. Those three things. Those three, huh?
Who's God and what is a family?
See, those questions, you know, that's so true. If it's not defined in a piece of paper, what is the rights as a human? You know, how do we engage in as a nation? Where are we going and where do we want to be? And why do we have to always fight these things? Why is it us that police certain things? And once you start policing certain things, someone is gonna get put through the hammer. For instance, this conversation of the invasion. Anybody that looks as a minority or brown is now considered not an American. Because what is an American? We are so far from the aspect that Americans are just white. But as a Mexican, I'll tell you what, if I'm in Mexico and someone says what's an American, it's a white guy. Because of the fact that the simple mindset gets activated so quickly as human beings, we are meant to somehow confuse our own selves.
I will tell you this. And this is why I do not like this person. And there's so much that I want to say that's absolutely hateful. So I'll refrain from it. But when a person like Stephen Miller gets a microphone and he has the type of audience that he has, it's absolutely dangerous. And you cannot sit back and say, well, I wish he wouldn't have said that. He's saying it on purpose. He's saying it strategically. He's a
counselor, right? He's a lawyer.
Hold on. He's saying it strategically. He's saying it to dismantle. He's saying it to corrupt. He's saying it to get people hurt. He's saying it to get Americans hurt. He's saying it to get Americans that look like you right now hurt. That's going to lead into people that look like me hurt. He's saying it to get my children hurt. That's why he's saying it. So all of this, I wish we had somebody to do. No, fuck that. At a certain point, war is war and battles are battles. And if you don't learn how to fight and you simply stand back and wish, well, then you are going to be the one that's.
But I'm not saying I know it's a fallacy to think that somehow, some way, you got to put your foot down. And you're right. The stronger willed man, a peaceful man, eventually will come forth. And eventually, that's my hope.
Do you understand and know why men are peaceful? That know war?
Because war is the war. It's
hell.
We understand the nature of it. We've been there, we've seen it, and we will not only have we done it, but we'll do it again. Generally speaking, people who talk like Stephen Miller, he ain't seen shit. And ain't
been nowhere, ain't done nothing.
And we'll never do anything, but we'll have all of his sycophants go out into the street and get their asses tore out the frame.
It's scary.
You know what? Hold on. Here's the funny thing. Now, that's accurate. Here's what I do see. Look at your foundation of this country. So when Mexican Americans talk about certain things, I think to myself, well, my family came over as slaves. I'm not an immigrant to this country. But you're not going to find many black folks who's going to tell you they're a descendant of the enslaved African, but I'll tell you fast and quick and in a hurry. And when I said we should defend our border, we should. Now, if you take me back in time to the 1930s and tell me about Operation Wetback, where there were Mexican Americans who were sent back illegally, you are correct. But this is a little different. To come over illegally is one thing, but to be encouraged to come over illegally, and I say encouraged, and be exploited, and you pay into Social Security, and you don't reap any rewards, and then they don't even give you a pathway to citizenship, then what they're telling you is you are a new enslaved African, but you're brown, and we'll pay you a few pennies versus the African slaves that we didn't have to pay a damn dime to.
So I guess what you're saying is we love slaves. America loves to abuse.
It was able to benefit from offer free labor to enhance the shareholder value of the plantation owner and maybe whoever his or her banker was. So what I'm saying is I don't like to see people be exploited, period.
I agree.
Okay. Now, this current situation, too many people had come across that border and the people spoke. And even though with President Trump's behavior from the past, whether it was legit or not, because some of that stuff is persecution and some of it he's just silly. But at the end of the day, he got voted back in, even though they wanted to keep him off the ballot box. And that was wrong. But the people voted. And this is what they got. And if he's screwing up as bad as people say that he is, I don't have no love for Stephen Miller. Well, then in the 26th election, we'll find out. But I have said religiously from the time this podcast, I started coming on, I'm not for the Democrats because they ran me out of my position, but I'm not for the Republicans either. Because both sides have some good things to them.
Except for Stephen Miller.
Yes.
Except for him. So as long as people are stuck in their silos, is what you're saying, Zoe, they're stuck in their silos, and we keep putting in one party or the other, you're never going to see, wait a minute, I don't want to say the word never, because I didn't think Obamacare or Affordable Care Act could ever get passed. I was wrong. And I thought as soon as the Republicans got control of the presidency or the Congress, they would overturn that thing fast, quick, and in a hurry.
Repeal and replace.
Repeal and
never
replace.
happened.
Right. And I thought for sure they'd get rid of it. But when so many middle class and poor whites said, oh, you're not getting rid of this, then they were stuck.
Well, they're trying to, even here recently, right? And maybe we can talk about this next week because Glenn, Lynn, I don't know where I got Glenn from. Lynn, but this might end up affecting you a little bit. I'm not sure how Medicaid plays into what you all do, but there's an event to try and essentially uproot Medicaid at this point.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
yeah, they're looking to cut funding. This happens all the time. One of the things that happens every single year that nobody who's not in my business knows about is Congress comes after the taxability of life insurance proceeds each and every year.
Oh, wow.
Each and every year. And you never hear anything about it. I hear about it because I have to fund people to go to Capitol Hill and keep it a tax-free benefit. But they go after it every year. So this is what's going to happen. This is why I said people need to start thinking about now that business or that organization or that pursuit that they want to move forward with as soon as this cycle is done, because most of the damage that is going to be done during his presidency is going to be undone in the next administration. And I'm just hoping that when they redo it, they do it better. They bring it back better. And they bring it back with, we're not going to allow these workarounds and these backdoors and these whatevers.
Yeah.
Because, that's what happens with every administration. But what I keep coming back to is, like, some people believe Trump can do whatever he wants. But I'm reading every single day where he's getting pushed back here, pushed back there, pushed back. And people don't even really know the score. He's actually net, he's taking L's.
Yeah, he's taking huge L's.
He's taking L's.
Yeah.
Well, that China one was huge.
I sent that China thing to you, right, Jay? With him on his knees.
Yep.
He took an L. Look, if you remember the first administration, who was supposed to pay for the wall?
Oh, Mexico was supposed to.
Mexico was paying for it. How much they pay for it?
Not a daggone thing.
Nothing. But when you live in a world where the words coming out of somebody's mouth can shake you, that's on you. To me, that's your decision. Like, for instance, if I'm in Mexico and I say, you know what, I want to live in the United States. Let me do all the research to go to the U.S. legally and pursue that path. Because like I said last week or the week before, all of the people that are here illegally didn't necessarily come here illegally. Some people come here with a visa, and once that visa expires, now you're illegal.
Right.
Some people have a driver's license. That driver's license expires. Now you're riding dirty. So this whole, but people don't take a time and open up their mind to all the possibilities. All illegals are put into one silo. Everyone here who is illegal snuck across. They didn't even come from Canada. Which border did they cross? They came through TJ, right? They came through El Paso, Juarez. That's how they got over here.
Juarez, I like Juarez.
Don't ever go there, though, bro.
Oh, I did. I've been there.
I've been there. It's not so bad.
So, are you? What state are you? Are you in Texas?
No, I wish. Oh man, I wish.
I'm in Houston.
Hey.
We love the Mexicans in Houston.
I love the Sugar Land, that whole community. I have family. My whole family's in Texas.
Right, got you. Because it's so funny. You know, everyone here, like if you're Asian, you're Chinese. You're not Korean. You're not Japanese. You're not if you're Hispanic, you're Mexican.
You're not Puerto Rican.
I grew up in Philly. So when I grew up, the Latinos were Puerto Ricans.
Puerto Rican.
You know, that was it.
We love putting people in boxes, man. Like
I know. Because you could open up your mind and say, you know, when I lived in DC, I realized there were 32 different versions of the Latin culture in DC. It wasn't just Puerto Ricans, Mexicans. You know, I had to learn the Rodriguez Q and the Rodriguez G and who got what. You know, but most people, they don't want to stop and think and process. They just want to have it spoon-fed to them. So a guy like Stephen Miller knows this. No. I can just tell these fools whatever I want.
What a bunch of
and enough of them are going to buy it. Like someone said, the Holocaust, or not the Holocaust, the internment, the death camps,
right,
were not illegal.
Yeah.
You know what was illegal? Hiding Jews was illegal.
Damn.
Killing them,
right,
wasn't.
You know what's funny that you say that? Because if you help slaves escape to the north, that was a crime.
Yes.
That was the
helping slaves was a crime. Slavery was legal.
Right. And that's why sometimes I say sometimes some European Americans or Caucasians or white people, some have no apologies for the laws of that time. They said, well, that was the law. That was slavery. You know, put that behind us. Let's go forward.
Oh.
Some.
Get over it.
Yeah, some.
That a lot of things in perspective. Thank you for saying that.
Huh?
That just put a lot of things in perspective. Thank you.
I want to make sure I'm very clear when I say some, because we know that not all black men are sexual predators that jump on women like Cassie Ventura. So we don't want to say all. That's certain words. Because when we say all, that tells me that my black ass doesn't have a chance in this great country.
Yeah.
Some, a percentage. I have to watch my words carefully on that. I have to, more than y'all do.
Yeah, this South African dude told me that, you know, in South Africa, he was white, is white. Mm-hmm. All the blacks there are lazy.
All of them?
Hold on.
Okay.
But all the work is being done by who?
Blacks.
So there's the, you know.
Oh, well, he'll probably
right there.
He'll probably, because without our leadership, they wouldn't be able to do the work. Without our inspiration, they wouldn't be able to do the work.
No. If you lazy, you ain't inspiring nobody to do nothing.
Yeah.
So it's not a lazy people, because if they were a lazy people, you wouldn't choose them to watch a kid, clean your house, mow your lawn, you know, dig for gold and minerals and all that other stuff.
Wait a minute. If they're so lazy, if they're so unbecoming, then why did you even leave? Why did your family's family even leave England to come to South Africa? What were you looking for? What was so great about those black folks in South Africa?
Gold.
Stay back in Europe.
Gold and land.
Diamonds.
Topic I needed to get off. I had to get off habeas corpus because I don't like Stephen Miller at all. At all.
He's like what was that? Bannon? Steve Bannon?
I can
words.
Yeah.
Words.
And I can't.
If you say you don't like Stephen Miller, I ain't gonna have no argument.
Say it one more time. I couldn't hear you.
Huh?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. Say that again.
Steve Bannon is the one that's basically saying he's figured out how President Trump can run for a
third term. I got that part, and but I can still stomach Bannon. I can stomach Bannon
because he'll talk and he'll come on any platform. He's not afraid. He doesn't.
And he went to jail.
Yeah.
He served. He did real time.
Hold on. He's true to his game.
Yeah.
Miller.
No. And
I can't put my hands on it.
He's shifty. He's a leech. He's a slug. He's a bottom feeder. But and he plays to the worst of people's characteristics. He plays to the worst of people in America. And I can't stand. I don't like the guy. There's so much.
I don't know if this is a word. He's kind of like a hate monger, right? There's warmongering and then there's racist hate mongering, and I feel like that's what he does. It's cringy once he starts, like he says, he speaks in silent whistles. And
you know why? Because there's money in hate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, when you spew that hate, because has anybody looked at Eddie Griffin lately?
No, I haven't lately. I usually check in. I'm glad you said.
He's on podcasts, and this dude is Stephen Miller's cousin. because people are paying him money, like Candace Owens, like anybody. Look, I could put on a blue suit and a red tie right now and go and just start talking about black folks, and they will send me money.
Quick question.
They will send me money tonight.
Quick question. I don't want to get off subject. Yeah. Do you think there's a possibility that Candace Owens, Dr. Umar,
Wait, look, you can bundle them. That's okay. It's just funny, but you can put them in a bundle.
There's a possibility that they could be government agents.
Yeah.
I don't think so about Candace, but Dr.
No, because you don't have to do all that. It's money. If there was no money in it, Candace Owens would be doing something else. This is a money play.
And that's why I say
Stephen Miller has organizations, I guarantee it, that he says what he says, they post his clips, and they generate income from the hate that he spews. This dude said that the 9-0 verdict was in Trump's favor. They gobbled it up. Oh my goodness.
They gobbled it up.
They did.
They gobbled it up. Oh man. That 9-0 was in favor of Trump.
For which situation? The Omar Garcia?
Yeah, the guy that went to that got deported.
He spun it. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go,
because he knows that you won't open your mind and consume it and do some research. Yeah. He knows that you will just gobble up what he says. They'll put his clips on those Christian nationalist websites.
He's the worst of humanity.
And the haters will just send all the money. Like, look at a woman that called the 5-year-old the N-word at the playground.
I couldn't understand that. Twitter.
Because the hate. This is what I'm saying. Hate makes money.
Oh, bro. Oh, hate makes so much money.
Hate. Look, more than love.
Unfortunately,
look, a kid gets shot and there's a GoFundMe. They might get funeral expenses.
Right.
They might. But this woman at the park calling this little boy a nigga, she almost got to $1 million. I heard they shut it down.
They did.
And they're in the midst of sending everybody their money back. But, you saw where it went. That thing had a 7 in front of it.
Yeah.
Last time I checked.
Here's my question.
Well, let me answer your first question. And the reason why I think it's possible is because of Operation Quantupler, right? Where there were plants started by J. Edgar Hoover, right? And that's how they began to put out plants in our organizations back in the day. So I think it's possible for them to push people out and have folks posted on both ends of the spectrum. Is it likely that they are? I don't think they are, but it's possible.
Yeah, everyth's possible, but I don't believe that because you don't have to do all that.
They're talking with permission to maneuver, a large body of a consensus. It's kind of like an influencer, but what is the end meet, or who is behind the dollar? Follow the money. You know, a interesting thing that when I was going through school and I learned something that really impacted me, and I forget his name, but the leader from the Black Panther Party,
Huey or in Chicago.
yeah, him as a vocal leader, and then, you know, and it was never proven on how or what he was taken out, but the way that he was taken out was
Chicago.
so crazy.
The Chicago.
Yeah. Hampton.
And to me, as a minority, even the fact that after you study all this, what he was advocating, you start to wonder, why was it so problematic for him to speak at that time and for him to be so aware of what it means to be living in the South Side at that given time.
So, quick question. The lady in Ohio, when she said the N-word to the little black child, and then she started receiving money, did she say the N-word to promote violence?
No, it was hate. It was just hate.
Just hate.
That's why I said hate is the money maker.
It is.
In this country, you're allowed to hate people in this country and say all types of vile words. That's your freedom of speech. Until that hate promotes violence or incites violence, and then you don't have that freedom of speech. They'll take that from you.
No, you still have the freedom. What happens now are here come the consequences.
Yeah.
That's what people can't figure out. I can say you can say whatever you want.
Remember,
I saw a clip today where a white dude choked this black woman's daughter at a stoplight. They got into it, road rage kind of thing. He's in jail and he's fired from his job because now that once it goes viral and it's all over the internet,
it looks bad.
It's a wrap.
Bad
This
PR.
is how white people are getting fired. Remember the white woman in Central Park?
Yeah.
That called the cops on the dude?
The bird photographer.
But here's my thing. The lady in Ohio, when she called the black child the N-word, and I want to know, was she promoting violence? When you call people racist words, that's your freedom of speech. If it promotes violence, then you'll get arrested for that. My question is, this is why I've always had a problem with rappers calling each other the N-word on rap songs outside the community. Because now you're bringing that word back, saying we're going to use it for a term of endearment, or it's our word, we can say it, but people outside the community can't say it.
And they're the one buying it.
Well, that's
they're the one buying it.
Isn't that why?
And basically, once again, here's hate making money again. They're buying this hateful word so they can say this word. There's nothing funnier than being at a Jay-Z concert. I was at one in Vegas, right near the stage. And when it got to N-word time, I was surrounded by white boys.
And they going at it.
And they lit it up.
Yeah.
They lit it up because they paid their money.
Right.
He's saying the word, and I'm singing along with him.
You know what?
Funny to me for some reason.
Why?
It shouldn't be what it is.
The white that I do have, we can listen to rock and roll, we can listen to R&B, we can do jazz, we can do country. We can't do rap. I don't want to listen to rap music around white people. I just don't want to do it. And I won't do it.
Yes, because there is something there. Even me as a Hispanic, if I'm listening to, I love hip hop. I am the hip hop generation. I come from that. But because of the fact that I'm brown, I'm not supposed to be listening to that. Because you're a certain type of person, you're not supposed to be doing certain things. But when it comes to even Little Richard said something in a video that I shared today, that the music culture has been basically, the coolest music was started by black folks. The blues, jazz, basically hip hop,
gospel,
reggaeton, right? All the swaggy stuff. And I'm not saying that country's not swaggy. I do think country is swaggy too, but
country's is rooted in the blues though.
But there is something that comes from our culture that is loved and then hated just the same. You can't be, like I said, bro, growing up in the suburbs, it is weird to see an American person, white person, talk like a brown person. We had a Chinese friend that he spoke like a brown person, but we gave him code to use the Mexican.
You gave him a card?
He was basically a Mexican Chinese because he worked with us. And I guess this is what it's kind of beautiful, depending on if you have more love or hate in your heart. But if you accept people for who they are, like who is the most blackest white rapper ever? Eminem.
Yeah.
After that, Bubba Sparks. But there was times where
he said Bubba Sparks. He forgot all about who?
Boys.
Huh?
Nah. I was saying I think Paul Wall is more black than
Paul
Wall.
If he got permission to be on that because he's part of that culture. He really lives it. But let's just say somebody from Lake Forest out here tried to dress like that and talk like that in his community, he would be, ridiculed because, you're not supposed to be that. But American culture has done such a great job of, if it's cool, I like it. Trends.
Hey, veterans, how racist was your basic training?
Yeah. So I couldn't. That's tough. That's tough because we all got treated like shit.
But how were we talking to each other?
Oh yeah.
How are we talking to each other?
When I went through, we didn't have.
I don't know. I don't think mine was too.
No.
Really?
I don't think no.
Let me give you just one picture, right? So, black people, we all was hung low, didn't eat downtown, and couldn't swim. So this is a true story, right? This is a true story. So I did my swim qualification. I was in the pool for an hour. I get out the pool. I look straight at the bleachers. Everybody in the bleachers is black. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to go over there. My country ass company commander was like, where you going, boy? It's over here. I said, but how come? So who's over in those bleachers? He said, oh, those are the guys that can't swim. And it was at least 24 brothers, shivering, wet, cold. So they tried to swim,
couldn't do it,
and got pulled out of there. And now they sitting over there in the bleachers.
Hold on.
And I'm sitting there like, this is where they get this nonsense.
No, wait a minute. Wait. This
is where they get this nonsense.
Here's the funny thing about that, because I can't swim. There's two types of black folks. The kind who can't swim like me, and the kind that's always in the water swimming.
Hey, I'm like a fish.
No in between?
Nope.
Yeah, you're right. There's no in between. I'm with you, Rich. I can't swim either. I could do this.
I have a phobia of water. I'm drowning.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a Mexican. I can swim all day. You put me in the river, I'll be all over that thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So look, every Mexican in my company was a wetback.
Yeah, it's one of those things where
Asians, rice eaters. You know what we were. It was the most racist environment I've ever been in my life. It was my basic training in San Diego.
When I was in Arizona, sometimes Mexicans would talk to other Mexicans and say the W word, the wetback. I hate black folks saying the N word. I don't want Mexicans saying the W word. Not around.
Look, Jews do it to other Jews. I've worked for American Jews and I've worked for Israeli Jews. We all look. The thing is, we think we're so different.
We're not.
When we get home and at Thanksgiving dinner,
I don't like
everybody's something but a child of God.
I don't like it.
I know.
Hate it.
So,
but you know what, Rich? You're not gonna stop it or change it.
I know.
Because that's
told me that.
Again, that's the currency that we have sometimes.
Right. But here's the thing. If you start a country and you enslaved a group of people and you told those in the Southwest who were Mexican speaking Spanish, that's no good. We're going to take your land from you. And you told your Native Americans, we don't care about what treaties we made with you. We're going to break it anytime we get ready. Yep. This is the foundation of this country.
Yeah. And if you have a house, Richard, can you change the foundation that your house is sitting on?
Nope.
No. You're like, oh, hey, help me lift this corner of the house up so I can get slide something in this. No,
and wait, this goes to the border. So when they let people come across the border illegally years ago, nobody wanted to say anything. But once those numbers got so big, and because of 9/11 and the terrorist situation on 9/11, Now they said, look, we've had the laws on the books for years, but we never really wanted to enforce it. Now, in a sense, we kind of have to. And since too many minorities are getting ready to be the majority and we're losing our, quote, white majority, we got to do something.
People should be asking. Because another thing you're talking about, how many refugees come across the border? They're waiting for a hearing. But while they're waiting for a hearing, are they legal?
Y'all keep.
They're not. They're not.
Man.
They're illegal. That's what I'm talking about. You got all these different factions of illegality.
It's so crazy.
We just put them all in one little thing saying they all bum rush the border, the Mexican border.
The aliens are listening right now, and they're thinking, and these fools want to get to Mars. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're humans. We are, this is why traveling's so important.
Yes.
People that don't know what it is to get outside of
the United
States, American, politics, what have you. Go somewhere where like people have genuine respect, per se. Japan, and Japan's got a lot of issues. I'm not saying that they're like the best society, but supposedly the best people in the world and that we admire and sometimes we miss. I'm looking at people in Brazil that live in the jungle and they have their little huts and they have their little, families and they have all the bare necessities. And I'm thinking like a human being is so adaptable that they can find happiness if they understand that happiness is available. But if we are always on the aspect, per se, like right now in my real estate classes, some of these people are like, if I'm not making $1 million, I'm not going to be happy. If I'm not going to be making $12 million, I'm not going to be happy. Then they make all this money and then what? They're not happy.
Mm-hmm.
And so me as a Mexican, after going through cancer, you know what my happiness is right now, lately?
Being cancer-free?
Being cancer-free, absolutely. Seeing my kids just look at their faces and smile and giggle, fall, get back up. Watching your children grow and not be free of fear. I think human beings are sick of being always in fear. It's either what moves us, either love or fear. It's a basic thing.
Well, I got a question, Zoe. I got a question.
Yes,
how
sir.
You gonna feel when these Africans come to your area?
What kind of Africans?
Zoe, where are you again?
Chicago. But what kind of Africans?
You're in Chicago?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like
the refugee Africans, man, the ones who are in trouble.
The ones
hold on, the white ones that just landed at the airport?
Yeah, we saved them.
The white Africans? The South Africans?
Oh, those kind of Africans?
They're going to Chicago?
Deport those.
I'm just asking, how's it?
Look, they're bringing them in.
Yeah, I mean,
and they're getting the Afghans.
When I saw those Africans and they were white, my racist, because we're all kind of biased somehow. It's ridiculous to say I'm colorblind. No, American has put us in.
Oh, that's what racists always say. I'm colorblind.
Yeah. And this is the perfect example. Let anybody go to a jail system. You better know who your clique is. You better know who you're riding with.
It's only 3 clicks.
There's only 3 clicks. And I guess what I'm saying overall, if we buy into those things where we're like, you're this and you're that and you're this, maybe I'm stupid, maybe whatever. I hope nobody tries me, but I'm following the Jesus thing. This is not my world. My world is somewhere else because clearly I think different. I move different.
Don't take us down the religious road, Joe.
I know, but overall, this country, the first thing I remember when they said to me, I'm an American citizen because I was born here, right? But do you assimilate? Do you forget everything that you come from? Are you an American? Even lately, my family, I put a Pancho Villa Instagram post. My own people were like, what are you, stupid? You live in America. Why do you look up to a Pancho Villa? You're not even a Mexican.
They better be careful. They better get on Pancho Villa's side and get his attitude because the way shit going down. Look, I'm telling you, they just brought 50 some odd Afrikaners. I said it like that.
We saved them.
They're being persecuted.
Listen,
say about
that.
What kind of persecution are they really living though?
Hey, Zoe, don't answer those questions.
Look,
No, don't answer those questions. All right? Just believe they were persecuted. All right.
I have defended President Trump.
Yes.
Let me be clear on May 14th, 2025, regarding the Afrikaners who came to America saying they were persecuted. I can't defend this at all.
It looks kind of silly because
At all.
like.
Well, hold on, Zoe. Hold on.
Go ahead.
This is interesting because I need to know why. Why not, rather?
Because all the other people claiming you're being persecuted with Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador,
Afghanistan,
and then I'm just gonna forget about all those Africans in Sudan for all that nonsense they've been fighting between the Christians and the Muslims all those years. I'm gonna forget all about those Africans, but all the people across the world. But you went to South Africa where Elon Musk is from. If Elon Musk is God's, then why didn't you go get your own people and bring them over here? But you let the president do it for you. If you're so worried about their life in South Africa as being the wealthiest man on earth, you couldn't go over there and throw a few.
Brother.
Last time I checked, you got some money, black folks will talk to you. They'll work with you. And you couldn't take your money and wealth over there and your great spaceship or space shuttle, whatever you're doing.
They wouldn't buy his. They wouldn't buy his Starlink.
They wouldn't buy.
Oh, so you mean those Africans wouldn't buy your Starlink because they knew you were about garbage?
Correct.
Okay, well then never mind. Never mind.
He can't make money. He can't make money in his native country right now.
Yeah,
right.
They've.
That's where he is.
And so the question is, where are they going to put these? Are they Afrikaners or Afrikansers? Where are they going to put them? For the night, guys. That's my bad joke. Where are they going to put them? Where are they going? And not just
don't have jobs.
Where? And are they going to get Social Security?
Absolutely.
Are they? Where are they put them in hotels? Who's paying for these hotels?
Well, no, the houses that the invasioners took before they got booted back down south.
So those in Colorado, where the gang was in Colorado.
Yeah.
The Venezuelans.
Yes.
Invading. That's a foreign invading army.
But right now, what I heard is like 50 of them, right? 50
yes.
Some odd?
Yeah, about 50. Yeah.
So they put them up at the Four Seasons.
Scott Jennings.
That's too easy. Yeah.
Scott Jennings on CNN said you let between 14 and 18 million illegals come over, and then you're complaining about 50. It will be a whole different thing. He said it's not even a comparison.
So I don't know if I'm complaining about them as much as I'm comparing them. And
so were they persecuted?
Say again?
Were they? They said that they couldn't survive in South Africa. They were being persecuted.
So let me put things in perspective about South Africa's wealth. 5% of the population, I think it's about 5% of the population, own 80% of the land, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And it was stolen land, mind you. And so the 95 or 90% of the people, they don't have the resources available. And so when the government was taken back over and it's not that they're just randomly taking land. They're taking land that people aren't using that should be farmland, and they're converting it back. There's also a move, and I'll do some more studying on this, to give people back the land that was stolen to them. And that's the part
that's the part that's pissing people off. Because you're basically stealing it back from the thief.
Yeah.
So
you're pulling an OJ.
So
you're stealing back your memorabilia.
So wait. Here's
y'all don't hold no punches, man.
I had one too, but I'm gonna refrain.
I'm gonna look at this when you're from a white South African perspective.
Okay, fine.
So the white South, they come from England, they go to South Africa and they take over.
Yeah.
They take over using bloodshed and doing whatever they have to do. So if you have the guns and you can run, then you take over. And then black South Africans, they fight you back later down the road with their guns and then they take back over. And
Well,
now you have a problem with it. See, I thought power respected power.
Oh no. No, power respects itself.
Yeah, big bank takes little bank.
Yeah.
Huh?
Big bank does not respect little bank. Big bank takes little bank.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done. Because to me, we don't want to be hypocrites. But if you come over and dominate me, you bring me over as an enslaved African and tell me get over it. Okay. And then if I turn around later on down the road and get the power and then run it down your neck, now you want to get mad and say you're prosecuted, you're persecuted. That's what I feel like is going on in South Africa. And that leaves a bad taste in my mouth because they've already called you a hypocrite, President Trump. They've called you a hypocrite 1,001 times. But this time.
And we're not bringing the best and the brightest over.
They're the brightest, maybe not the best.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they are the brightest, you know.
Oh, you mean the whitest? The whitest?
The whitest.
I see what y'all did there. That's funny.
Oh my gosh.
So in like 10 years, there's not been many of them that have been killed, right? It's just so the persecution aspect of what's happening to Afrikaners in South Africa post apartheid, the narrative is absolutely false.
Yeah, there's no genocide going on over there.
There is none of that happening. None of that's happening. But
maybe that's what's so aggravating because South Africa has been notoriously terrible with their history of what that means. Like Mandela really did work, and because of the fact that now we're supposed to believe that South Africans, white South Africans, it just paints a bad picture because right now we hate all immigrants. Regardless, you could be coming. It could be an alien.
No. We love these 50. We love these 50. These 50 that just popped off these planes. We love these 50. We love
50. Oh, those we like those guys.
We love those guys.
Hey, what
okay.
we got
America.
One for each state, baby.
America loves those guys.
There's a South African for Arizona, Alabama, Maine, all states.
Yeah. One per state, dude. She gonna divvy him up like that? One per state.
They can divvy him up like that's how they doing it. That's why you got it.
I just got it. I just got what you were saying, Richard. So I have to go back and say that and recant some things. I was wrong because those Afrikaners, the white South Afrikaners felt like the black Africans were invading them.
Yeah.
I go back and I have to apologize for my passionate statement about invasion because there's a perception that they're being invaded by black South Africaners.
South Africa took their land, right?
Why
they had the land. South Africa took it back.
Get invaded by the natives. Right. The natives are invading, Jay. That's what you said.
The natives are invading and encroaching on their.
That ain't Stephen Miller's version of invasion. Now. So I thought we were going with the Stephen Miller version.
Hey, we can say
Miller, bro.
You know what?
Y'all killing me.
Dude, she missed the whole show.
I missed that one. I wanted to talk about that one. I
missed the whole show on Stephen Miller.
Argue with lawyers, and I've had enough arguments with enough people in my life that. What one word may mean to you may mean something different to me. And
but that doesn't negate the definition.
If you go to the dictionary, meaning, well, hold on, because they defined the word nigger years ago as being a black person. Oh yes.
Somebody told me it was a person from Nigeria too. I was like,
nigger, so. And that's where they got the name Nigeria from.
Yeah.
So anyway. You know, when you look at the definition of words, and depending on when you go to the definition on who wrote the book.
Yeah.
So.
Damn. That's real knowledge. I never really even thought about that.
Yeah, because I get the colloquialisms about it. I get all that. I'm just simply saying for the current times and phrases.
Yeah.
The Stephen, I don't even like saying that motherfucker's name.
Stephen Miller.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
He said you can call him daddy. He prefers to be called daddy.
Oh man.
He is a husband and a father. Does that count for anything, Jay?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And I hate to be that harsh about a person, But the truth is, I wish his bloodline was cut off with him.
Wait a minute.
Look,
I feel that way. The way you feel about Stephen Miller is how I feel about Gavin Newsom.
Come on, man.
Oh, man, not your governor.
I feel like, not
your governor.
On, bro.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on. I'm about to darken my screen.
He's used more baby oil than P. Diddy has allegedly used in his freak offs, which I think is a derogatory word. I don't like when they say freak off, because as Zoe was saying, when Hugh Hefner was having his Playboy parties, everybody wanted to go. But when a brother does it, well, it's a freak off.
Look, the thing is, nobody accused Hugh Hefner of stuff like that. Nobody got Hugh on tape holding his bath towel while he's kicking the brakes off of another woman. That's what you gotta bring to that party.
But he was banging dogs.
Look, Hefner did what he did.
He liked doggy style, the doggy style.
Hold on. Hey, wait a minute. Hold on.
Bestiality.
Hold on. Hey,
that's cool.
What?
Oh, bro, the Playboy man.
We need to see the video. We gotta see the video, though. Or it didn't happen.
Pictures. I mean, I want to see pictures, but we need proof.
He's been known that he used to have a girlfriend, and one time, what happened was he left the dog with Hugh Hefner. The lady comes back. Hugh Hefner is dogging the dog.
Look.
And after that, the girl said, and I quote, "I never trusted him with the dog ever again."
Look.
So,
that may be true, but you don't got no picture, you don't got no video, and Hugh Hefner had enough money to silence people.
Hold on a second.
I'm sure he ran afoul of the law.
Check this out, because he said there was no pictures of Hugh Hefner on video doing this stuff, but we have it on P. Diddy. So years ago, there's a guy.
I don't want to jump off into P. Diddy too far. Like we did sports, we're gonna have to reel it back in.
Rodney was being beat up by LAPD.
Yeah.
And those cops still got off.
Yeah.
Why?
Politics.
No, they changed the venue.
Okay.
Semi Valley. Semi Valley player. 12 white people. Semi Valley.
So wait a minute. So this is where Zoe was saying about the white man's privilege of his skin. So even by changing the venue and they got off, even if you would have had Hugh Hefner beating up somebody or beating up a woman the way P. Diddy, he wouldn't have paid no price for it.
Look, if is he tried in LA?
Well, I don't know where he tried.
Okay, if he's tried in Semi Valley, where ain't no black people to register to vote, to be called to jury duty.
But what Zoe is trying to say is the white man has a privilege that's part of the foundation. Because remember, when he came over here, only white men who were property owners were allowed to vote. If that's your foundation, and you still see his white face on all your money, then that tells you who's running the show. And he's not going to be held to the same standard of excellence that you're going to demand everyone else. That's not happening.
And we're not defending, and I'm not defending Diddy whatsoever, because when I saw that video, I used to be a big fan of Diddy. Even before the whole Biggie stuff. But that's another thing. My whole thing is, I do believe that there is something that's going to happen with this case where they're painting him to be like this conglomerate, like he has all the vagina on lock. And exporting and importing vagina, or even like escorts, whatever. I don't know. The whole thing is dirty. But with Hugh Hefner, when we idolized Hugh Hefner, it was on TV, and now the girlfriends that he has now. Remember when he had that show with all the girlfriends?
Yeah.
All of a sudden now that he's gone,
now I can't believe stuff.
All this freaky stuff happened, and I was with this shrivelly old balls man or whatever. But at the time when we were watching the show, that shit looked like, damn, I want to be Hugh Hefner's friend.
No,
and I'm not a woman, but the glamour of what these gentlemen offer, the glitz, the freak offs between the whole situation, or even that word, you're right, orgies, whatever. It's tabooish, and it's also like, you guys can't do this, we can. The Weinstein dude. Tell me that Weinstein dude and all the affiliates.
Zoe, we can't continue down the Diddy case.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't want to keep doing that. I want to run something back real quick. So Deuce has, and I'm gonna be quiet because again, I will get over passionate about this because again, we're talking about that motherfucker.
We need to let the hair go too, man. The hair is gone. Cut it off the sides.
Habeas Corpus. I didn't even get to read Habeas Corpus. I got off like that dude makes me passionately upset because of the misinformation, the disinformation, the disingenuousness. Again, he's putting our kids, he's putting our family members, our friends, our loved ones at risk because that's who he is. So anyway, but go ahead, Deuce. You get to this. Just all you. I'm gonna be quiet on it. I don't want to say that because I'm gonna say.
I feel like I already missed the energy from it.
Oh,
you
bro,
don't even know where to pick up at. Yeah,
you missed it.
The viewers got it. That's what counts.
Yes.
So I'll summarize. Right. So he was the whole habeas corpus, the run on habeas corpus. We read somewhat about this in Project 2025 a year and some change ago, right?
Yeah.
But his definition of the reason why he thinks that it can be essentially uprooted is because, as he defined it, we're experiencing an invasion. It's an invasion from immigrants, and so I pulled up the definition of invasion, and it has.
Yeah, you did it too. All right, I did that.
Because again, he's such a vile sepulcher of a person that I detest the fact that he walks upright as a human, but that's not what he actually is. He is banter fodder. That was that Star Wars reference. Just throwing that out there. He's just an ill-suited person to receive the breath that actually circulates our lungs. He should not have that. He shouldn't have the capacity to enjoy this with us. But
Jay,
anyway.
if something happens to Stephen Miller,
them
Blue Jackets coming to Kentucky.
They can come.
I promise you.
This
suspect number one.
I was on camera talking shit. I didn't do nothing.
Blue Jackets is coming to Kentucky.
I know.
I promise you.
Fine. That's fine. Listen, this is a hill that
no trial.
No, I can
right, because by that time he will have subverted habeas corpus and there's no due process or nothing.
Yeah.
So
it's a slippery slope.
It is.
Trial, I can promise you that I'll say that Mr. Glass, the person that I know that hosts a podcast, would never, ever, ever commit any type of act of violence towards a man or
no,
ever.
As long as he's not assaulting me.
I'm not even sure. I think he's a pacifist. I think he only serves the military to promote his.
He's a chaplain. He's a chaplain.
I can't.
Chaplain, Jay. He's a chaplain.
I'm not a conscientious objector. I'll just say that.
You're the base chaplain.
Right.
He could be.
I could assist in that. But news, what you got on habeas corpus, man? I don't want a platform.
I just think it's a slippery slope, man. I think Stephen Miller, man, he is a political genius, evil genius.
I will give you that.
Right?
Yeah.
The same way we acknowledge that Hitler was a tactical genius, right?
Yeah.
All right, so it's the cloak and dagger. They're taking away the benefit of trial before you deport somebody.
Hearing.
Hearing. And then they're painting the people they want to deport as bad people, invasion. In which, I don't know if y'all covered it already, but invasion is a foreign military on U.S. soil.
Oh, what?
Right?
Say that again.
The definition. That's not what we're having right now, right? We're just having people coming across the border.
There you go, Jay.
So they're painting them. It's like the makings of a movie, man. They're painting out all of the immigrants as bad guys, depending on your skin tone.
The bad hombres.
Bad hombres, right? And anything that happens, if they could tag it to an immigrant, oh my God, it gets national attention. So now we have our villain, right? Here comes the white knight It can't be Stephen Miller because he's not a charismatic person. So you got somebody else to do the bidding, right? To get rid of the bad guy. And what people miss in this, because I've talked to some people that think it's not that bad idea. Well, if you if you do it away from one segment of our population, they're still in our population. It makes it easier to apply that to other segments of the population. Because as you notice, I'm tying that along with the other things about violent American citizens. Perception. Who's to say what's the level of violence? What's the level of the bad guyness? Who dictates that? The government.
Yep.
Depend on how they feel about you, right? And that could be taken away from you too, because they said the act that you did is a danger to public safety, right? And maybe it wasn't. So it's a slippery slope, man. I hope he gets shot down, but I think it might go through.
The craziest thing is most illegals are nonviolent because they know
that's stay here, make some money, and keep your head low.
That's the fastest way to get up out of here.
Yeah. I'm trying to make money, send it back to the fam. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to rock your
send money. Look, I'm trying to send money back to Mexico.
When,
but that stuff, that whole aspect, that I guess you could say, even Manny said this to me, and it's hard. Mexicans have 2 or 3 generations that didn't never detach from their homeland. Europeans, I don't know, but I'm willing to say that the mass majority of Europeans, once they immigrated out of Europe, after 1 or 2 generations, those ties were cut off.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't.
I don't know. Maybe that's what I'm saying. I don't know, but
I do.
Here with Mexican people, even Manny said, he's like, I don't know what it is, but Mexican people have this thing where like they constantly they spend more money sending back to Mexico than actually investing in our homeland and our community. And because we don't know how to navigate this country sometimes, business wise, legally, we get into these things where like Mexicans are not a new immigrant society. We've been here from the get-go, but because of this nuance and these conversations and these TV propagandas, me per se, there's times when BB says to me, dude, you look like a straight person that just came from the boat. And I laugh and I smile and I'm like, I could be looking like
your wife is shit, man.
But
what boat? What boat? You don't need a boat.
It's just across the border.
Huh? You don't need a boat at the border.
No, but I guess
what you talking about?
What I'm saying is that again, I go back to the whole aspect that certain people get to decide what is going on. And right now in the history of American politics, we've never had this vocal person that just kind of looks like a bully and asshole. And then people are like, yeah, I like that shit. America should be kicking ass and we're America and we get to say whatever the fuck we say and with no consequences. We have a leader that's, yes, very successful, but how did he get there?
Where?
Right?
No.
Where?
No.
Well, supposedly Mr. Trump has been in more rap songs than any other.
That doesn't make you
successful. Yeah, that ain't successful.
That's not
make you successful.
How many bankruptcies have he had?
Hold on. This is where I'm gonna come to Zoe's defense.
Come on.
When you can run and when you can win the presidency of the greatest country on earth, or the most powerful country on earth, in 2 different elections, you got something to you.
He's 2-0 against women.
Yeah, but that also
2-0 against women. Right. He lost to a white man.
And I just want to say, when Hillary lost, and people were batting for Kamala, no matter how you feel about her, I was like, she's gonna lose. If a white woman can't beat him, how on earth you think a black woman is?
But I thought
then look at the spread. It was percentage points.
But I thought women and men were equal in this country.
Man.
Oh, no, you didn't, Richard. No, you didn't.
He never thought that.
No, you didn't. Now you don't see color or breasts. You don't see breasts either, right?
But
you don't see breasts or booty. You just see what? Scarecrows. What do you see, Richard? What's your prescription? What's your prescription?
Those rescue. All I was
No. So the reason why we're disagreeing with that is because prior to let's put some texture to it, right? Context. Prior to the White House, basing and using the word success shouldn't be synonymous with Donald Trump, the civilian, business wise.
Yes.
Now, just because he conned a lot of people doesn't mean that there was a form of success with that, right? If you look up Trump Towers and most of the real estate that he owns, he doesn't actually.
You don't own the building.
Yeah, he does not own the building. Just
a sign on the building.
Yeah,
and that's it. He doesn't have $1.5 billion.
Okay,
that's how much debt he's in.
All right. So here's the thing: when you say that, you make that argument that he's not a good, successful businessman.
Yeah.
Then I don't want to hear you say that when he comes out of the White House after serving 2 different terms, not consecutively, how much money he made that enhanced himself and his family and his business associates. I don't want to hear that shit.
Those two don't correlate.
No, he's a good comment. He's a good comment.
Richard,
he's a good comment.
Richard, I'm gonna go get 10 birds, 10 bricks. I'm gonna flip them. I'm gonna cut them. I'm gonna stack them. I'm gonna get a room full of cash, and then I'm gonna go legit.
Okay,
that's what you're talking about, because that's what he's doing right now.
No, I get what you're saying.
Crypto, with crypto, with Qatar building a resort.
You know what?
And all that nonsense.
Hey,
his hotel that he had the first administration.
Right. You know what, Lynn? I won't argue that, because if you look at the foundation of this country, it was legal to quote almost become quite wealthy. Allegedly, the schools of Harvard and Yale were founded off of drug money. Allegedly,
and
moonshine,
and moonshine. Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say what Tupac used to say, that America is gangsta?
Yes, criminal.
Yeah, that I agree with.
It is. And you know what? And we idolize that. My favorite movies growing up: The Godfather, Scarface, Training Day.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yep. Ask yourself this: do you want to wake up tomorrow and have China be in the #1 spot?
No.
No.
Or Russia be in the #1 spot?
Absolutely not.
So guess what? You want America in the #1 spot? Guess what America got to do? They got to put their tentacles all over the globe and everything, because if you don't, somebody else gonna take that spot.
Look, yeah.
Don't nobody want that.
And that's what I'm saying.
Nobody wants that.
Human beings love, I guess, putting people that are assholes in power, or how to manifest themselves into putting themselves in power, because everybody wants to be there. You have to be an animal of some sort, right? Because how do you? In my mind, I'm thinking, even running for a Senate seat, how incredibly difficult it is to get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm saying, and like I said, I don't like playing the left and the right, because right off the bat, I feel like, oh, you're them or me, and it takes the intellect out of the conversation. My whole thing is, how come our country is on a cult-like situation where, like, the way he speaks is so American that he speaks to a vast majority of the Bible Belt people. Hey, this is our man. We gotta support him.
That's not most people. And you know what we've been doing a lot of tonight is we've been focusing on the exception and not the rule.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most people are not Trumpsters.
Right.
Trump benefited because he was running against a woman. He got the sexist vote that nobody really calculates.
He had 2 weak candidates. Hillary was a stronger candidate,
but he got the sexist. He got the sexist vote.
He didn't beat Biden,
right? Because that's white. That's mano a mano.
Yeah,
that's my point. He lost when he went up against the white man.
He said he
lost.
Got cheated. He said
regardless,
because he lost.
But
that's
he beat
what losers
Hillary
do. I lost.
Okay, let me ask you guys this: Can you guys really imagine? Let's just say in a bizarre world, maybe not Kamala, but can you guys imagine a Hillary or a Kamala as a presidency?
Yes.
How much?
Yeah, we'll have a woman one day.
Yeah.
And what? In the near 10, 20 years?
The problem with one of the biggest problems with Kamala was there wasn't enough time. See, we bailed, and I say we because I'm a Democrat. We bailed on Biden after that bad debate.
Ooh, the debate was terrible.
It was terrible.
They shut
But,
down.
but guess what? You know what we could do? You know what we could have done?
What?
We could have we could have put some lipstick on our pig and rode him.
Sure.
We could have done that.
We
could have done that.
What do you mean?
We was bitches.
But
I'll say it.
True.
We were
but
scared.
He lost the base.
Now, what happens when you're scared to lose? No, you don't.
But,
No.
So you don't think Biden lost the base after that?
No. It's not about losing the base. It was about the base didn't believe that he could win.
The base is going to be
so they win.
Semantics.
I think the only way that the Democrats get back to winning, the only way that the Democrats,
two or three coaches got fired a couple of weeks before the playoffs. And they were playoff teams.
President Biden said when he was running in 20, I am a bridge president. I will serve one term. And then he changed his damn mind. He lied. And then he did.
So what does the Democrat leader look like right now that can dominate this?
You know who could beat Trump?
Consensus.
You know who could beat Trump? I want him to run a third time. You know who could beat him? Richard's governor.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Richard's governor would beat his ass.
Who's Richard's governor?
Gavin Newsom.
I don't have a governor right now.
So. You got a governor. You got a governor. You got a governor.
Richard, that's my arch nemesis.
California.
Right.
But for a serious,
because Newsom's got that imagery of a powerful white man.
He's a tall look.
For
most CEOs and Fortune 500 companies are white men 6 feet and above.
Listen, for a moment, let me say this to you, because I get dreams from God, and a close friend of mine, actually the person that I was arguing with about 32 days in a month, he got some dreams from God about my future.
Oh, you got to take that shit with a grain of salt.
No, I can't.
32 days in a month.
Yes, man.
You can't call him, man. You can't say he's on drugs on one hand, and then on the other hand say, I'm going to listen to this.
No, but go ahead, Rich.
Believe in God through Jesus Christ.
Amen.
Governor Newsom, you heard tonight on May 14th, he will run for president. So it appears from the dreams that my friend had.
That's not, Rich, that's not a dream. That's the consensus of a lot of people in America.
But he's about to get to the dream.
Let's get to the dream.
The dream. I am going to war with Gavin Newsom because I've been reinstated as the president of Local 1000, and I'm going to war with him because he's in the White House. But here's the funny thing, because I'm a straight shooter. I don't belong to neither one of the parties. Gavin Newsom is really the same person as Donald Trump, but he's on the left. He wants his way. He'll do anything and everything to get his way. Because in this country, power, it doesn't matter about your race or your color or your religion. The foundation of this country is I want all the money, or I want all the power to get all the money. And I'll do anything and everything. And I'll tell a voter anything I have to do to win a vote. And then when you have people like Dr. King, Malcolm X, the Black Panther leaders, people who are not going to tell you anything and everything, but they're going to give it to you truthfully, like the Kennedy boys. You can give the truth in this country, but you will get shot.
You will get shot.
Newsom is no different than President Trump. They're really the same two people. They're both born into wealth. They were given things their entire life.
How many bankruptcies Newsom got?
Yeah.
Oh no, he on the business end, no, he's more shrewder than President Trump. You're right about that.
Right about
the same. It's a different animal.
Not the same.
They're not the same.
No,
Huge difference.
I get what you
would not. I would not handle. Go ahead.
No, I get what Rich is saying, right? Because I believe the government is purple, right? So he's simply the opposite spectrum of the gauge. You know, it's the same temperature, just on at a different setting. That's it. So. And so Gavin Newsom, what he's doing now is he's starting to play to a Republican base on his podcast. I don't know if y'all have heard him.
Yes.
And
I've been hearing it. Yes,
he's playing the game.
He absolutely is
playing the game.
I said that.
It's not Donald Trump. This is why you talk about him doing the third term. I said, no, he's just messing with your head. Guess who he's racing to become the president?
Don't say RFK.
No.
No, and that's an easy win because JD Vance is a clown.
It can't be Vance. It has to be somebody else.
Well, hold on. You got a better chance with Rubio.
No,
because he got aspirations too.
I'm just telling you what my friend his
Rubio over Vance, I would say.
Okay, I'll give you that.
I
don't think that's your best chance, but it is better than Vance.
Wrong. If he's seen the dream wrong, but what he said was it was Gavin Newsom racing JD Vance for the presidency.
That's Gavin's race to lose.
It's not gonna be Vance.
I can promise you, when I'm reinstated, if you think that I'm going to support Gavin Newsom, Local 1000 is going to support Gavin Newsom, and he's talking about taking money from us again, I promise you this. If you see me supporting Gavin Newsom, then Local 1000 just got it over 3 years, along with guaranteed permanent telework.
All right. I gotta conserve some energy. My lady here, my baby here, Maya here, and I've spent almost 2.5 hours.
Did we break a record?
Say again?
Did we break a record?
Last week was crazy. Last week we did almost 3 hours, and I was chopping that stuff up, and I was like, I don't even know how to put this on Spotify right now because it's
this November bloodline, bro.
Yeah, but I want to get to final thoughts because I want to spend some time with my lady. I always enjoy hanging out with y'all. I think these panels are great. I've got to do a better job personally managing my passion when it comes to a specific person. And I know it, I understand it, and I will figure out how to do that.
There's always some person, or there may be 2 or 3 people in our life that you have to go up against, read about.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, see, it almost happened again. I just called myself because anyway, we got to get to final thoughts. Let me get to that dude right there, boy. That's all I can say. Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Who we starting with tonight? Rich, we got you up for final thoughts first.
Okay. My final thought. I don't know what I believe in our. But I believe in the country, and we will survive the presidency. Because we're a country. Win, time lose, and some president we'll have our laws. I believe the Supreme Court, for national security interests, will uphold the laws to the best of their ability while still playing politics, unfortunately. But I still believe in this country. I believe in our citizens, those who come over. I hope that you can come over legally to find a pathway to citizenship. And I hope that we can all eventually one day create the America where people are not judged on their skin color or their race or their sexual orientation, but they're judged on the content of their character, and we can fulfill Dr. King. Thank you very much. Louis Brown, President of Local 1000.
There it is. Zoe, we got you up next, my man.
Just overall, relax, everybody. America's gonna continue to win. Whether left, right comes into play, the American people are here to kick some ass, and I hope people don't mess with our American value system because I like being an American. I will fight for it, and no, I'm not getting deported.
All right, I appreciate you, Zoe. Lynn, what you got?
All right. Well, first and foremost, I wanted to let you guys know why my better half is absent this evening. She received some bad news about a cousin in St. Louis.
Damn.
Was murdered on his 21st birthday.
Oh no. Was it this past Saturday?
I'm not sure what day it was. I'm thinking it was today or yesterday.
Oh.
But
I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah. So it's a sad situation where our young people are still getting murdered for no good reason. Not that there's ever a good reason to commit murder. There are exceptions, but for the most part, we still are in a place where we don't have, our community doesn't have the necessary respect for human life, and it's a sad situation all around. So what I wanted to say as my final thought is, preparation is the elixir for pressure. And what we're dealing with right now is a lot of pressure, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of stress. And that's because we're not prepared. We're not doing our homework. We're worried about things that if we really just peel back the onion on the subject, like, once you get more education, then you realize education on the matter, then you realize the likelihood of habeas corpus being thrown out the window for 21 million people. I do not believe that we're ever going to see that happen. I believe that we're going to continue to fight. I believe people want to see Donald Trump get this plane, because once he gets the plane, it's going to be a countdown to what?
Impeachment.
Now he'll be impeached again, but he won't be removed because he's got the votes on getting removed
until 2026. We'll see what happens then.
But right now, he's got the votes.
Yeah.
So I see Democrats saying, you know what, let him have a plane, because as soon as he takes possession of the plane, we're going to impeach him on the very rule that everybody keeps saying is not bad, not this, not that. So what I would like to say to everyone is just, I'll piggyback on what Zoe said. Relax. Just relax. Do your homework. Be prepared. Like I said, be prepared for 26 and be prepared for 28. Because all this bad stuff that is sticking, because he's thrown a lot of stuff up against the wall. Most of it isn't sticking. Right? Birthright citizenship. Is that sticking?
Nope.
No. But people are so focused on this other stuff, all this tariff nonsense. I guarantee you there will be no recalibration after 90 days for that pause that he made on all those other countries. Not going to happen. But here's where, and I'll steal a word from Deuce, here's where Donald Trump is a genius. Because the way he got back into the White House, he did the same thing repeatedly. He just continued to stall and stall. To all those cases, those 4 cases that were going to sink him, he just kept getting them pushed out and pushed out and pushed out until, Richard, now we got to let the people decide. Because we can't let a court case decide the election. That's what he did. And guess what? That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't do that, where was he going?
Jail.
He was going to jail. So jail or stall, delay. And that's what he did. And he got lucky with that crap in Georgia with Fannie Willis.
Yeah.
He got real lucky there. So I just say, relax, do your homework, do your research. There's no excuse not to do research anymore. I hear my clients say all the time, when I was growing up, we didn't have access to that kind of info. Well, you got it today. Right? We need the definition of invasion. We got 20 of them. Right? You got it. But what we're not doing as a rule,
that part,
is using what we all have. We got a brain up here. Use your brain. Plan. Be strategic. You know what should be mandatory in high school?
Civics.
Chess.
I got a better one. I got a better one.
What?
The tax system. Learn it.
No, but that's chess.
That's chess.
That's chess.
Yeah.
Because the reason why billionaires aren't paying taxes is because they buy stock, they borrow against the stock. Loans are what?
Tax free.
Tax free.
Tax free.
So I buy something and I take a loan and I spend the loan, not the asset. But you got to play that game.
Oh,
and
wow.
we're sitting up here complaining about it. They are playing the game. I've been in the tax loophole world for 3 decades. We love when new tax laws come out because the first thing we're looking for is loopholes.
Yeah.
It's like when you get that Apple update and then there's a fix a week or so after it. Same thing. So final thought is prepare and relax.
I love it. And we're gonna have to start talking taxes because Kentucky residents, we had our taxes extended out to the 1st of November. Yep.
From April 15th?
Yep. Wow. Because of natural disasters that happened. So they extended everybody's out. So I haven't done mine yet, so we got time to talk taxes.
The taxes, it's a game.
It is.
It's a game. And people don't want to play the game, so they pay, and then they complain.
Nah, I'm not going to complain. I'm trying to figure out how to play. I want to get in on that.
Okay.
All right, perfect. That was great. Deuce.
Hey, I'm going to echo what everyone else said, man. Stay read up. Stay smart. I've seen a couple of articles talking about the rise of stupidity in America. And I wholeheartedly believe it. I've seen people talk and believe the most idiotic ideologies and things like that. And people don't do research anymore. To Lynn's point, I think that since it's more readily available, people have become lazy in the pursuit of knowledge, unfortunately, right? So take anything away from this, stay read up, keep your eyes peeled, and mind your world. Stay stress-free. Stress is a killer, but just stay ready, man, because I think I mentioned this before. I was listening to a podcast that Steve Bannon was on. He said one of the biggest mistakes of Trump's first presidency was they moved too slow. They didn't have loyalists in key positions, and they moved too slow. Yeah. This time, get his people in key positions, and he said they're going to move at muzzle speed, right? So you think about a machine gun, you think about the rate of fire, the bullets coming out that muzzle, and like y'all said, that's what he's doing. Because if you move so fast, the media can't keep up. The media can't keep up. It's hard for us to know what's going on, right? So we're still talking about tariffs. That he sneaks in habeas corpus, and we don't know what else is going on, right? So in a way, chess.
My ass is playing checkers.
I want to say that we have played chess, and I've strategically put topics on the podcast. That's why we were reading Project 2025 over a year ago. That's why I generally talk about life insurance and I switched it to certain nights, and I talk. We do things. I know it kind of seems like I just throw stuff out there, but I do think about stuff in a strategic fashion. For instance, in 2020, the end of 2024. Mid 2024, I was already saying that in 2025, the Black community is going to spend $1.98 trillion. I said that at that point, right? As a continuation. In 2022, I was saying that in 2024, we were going to be spending $1.8 trillion, right? So I agree. We have to make sure we do things strategically. A lot of the stuff that we push on this platform is done in a fashion because we've seen, if you haven't noticed, a lot of the stuff we've talked about prior, we're seeing to fruition now.
Yeah.
We've seen it come to fruition. That's why, like, there are certain themes that continue to come up. life insurance, now taxes, right? Finances. Well, another thing that I'm going to start talking about is investing abroad and moving abroad, not staying stationary, right? That's one of the reasons why I started sending you and Richard the information that I got Saturday.
Yeah.
Right. So looking at these things, figuring out, that's why we did the budget stuff when it first came out. Now people are just not like, wait, what's going on with Medicaid? What's going on? No, we talked about this stuff. We got ahead of this stuff. So we do a lot of reading. I'm saying this for the viewers that are going to hear this later. We do a lot of reading, a lot of research on multiple different ends of the spectrums, because we're not a monolith. And the panel is dominated generally by Black men, and I'm trying to make sure that we show that we're not monolithic in thought.
Amen.
Right. And it's not just Black men, but it's men of color. Right. Like I told Zoe and my man Manny not too long ago, like Mexicans and Puerto Ricans, hey, y'all Black. You just don't. I understand. I understand. We had that conversation when we were in California some years ago. I understand the foundations. I understand the movement. I understand the way that the genes are pressed together, right? And I get it. I understand the treatment. Now, I don't know if I understand or agree with gingers being Black, but that's a whole nother story for another time. But
I've seen that on TikTok.
Progressively, a lot of the topics we have, I've pushed them out early on purpose, and I've done it, and we'll continue to do that because it is a strategic placement. We are playing chess when a lot of other people are playing checkers, and they don't get it. Again, by the time we are on another conversation, we're looking at the news and things are just not coming back up. But we've talked about them months ago. But anyway, I'm just saying that just to say I agree with y'all's final thoughts. So I will get to my final thought. It's not that I hate totally that guy. But what it is actually, and honestly and truly, is it's a difference of the vision of America that we see. I don't want to continue to see America go in a specific way or in a specific fashion. I had the fortunate experience of talking to or listening to and being at a function about the experience in Ghana this past Saturday. And also understanding and hearing about a lot of the information that was presented and how to move forward with doing things abroad. And my lady and I were talking afterwards because we're trying to get things in place again to be able to move forward, to operate and function the way we want to. And it's not being done out of a spirit of fear. It's being done out of a spirit of, we know what America is. And one of the things that I need to, that I told my lady is, I told Maya, is in America, we have the Matrix experience where Neo is in and I love that car, the deuce and a quarter, right? And he's talking to Trinity. He's in the back seat. And he's got the other two characters up front. And then I can't remember her name, but she turned around, so she pulls a pistol on him while Trinity's talking to him. And she said, stop the car. Essentially, you can get out right now if you want to. And he's about to get out, and Trinity looks at him, and she says, you know where that road leads. You know where it goes. There's nothing new that's going to happen, essentially, if you get out of the vehicle that's going forward, progressing right now, and you walk back down that road. You're going to experience everything that you've always experienced. It's not going to be anything new. It's not going to be an awakening. It's not going to work out to your benefit.
Damn.
America. We've been down this experience before. We can either get in the vehicle and take that leads to Morpheus, so we can have the option of taking the red, the blue pill, or we can just hop out and continue to go down that road and experience the exact same things we've been experiencing, with the fear mongering, with the hatred, with the inability of moving financially to gain power, to gain position, to gain influence. In America, we can continue this level of insanity if we want to, but we don't have to. And it's everybody's individual decision and choice to make a different, to either stay in insanity or move past it. And so to finalize this and to cap it, it goes back into what we were talking about earlier, hatred. We know exactly where it leads. We know exactly where it ends. We know where it goes. We've experienced it all before.
It's so crazy.
And we don't have to be this. We don't. But we have to make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, those are my final thoughts.
Brilliant.
Those are my final thoughts. So, gentlemen, as always, I absolutely appreciate the panel. We are actually now at a record of 254.
Records are made to be broken.
They are made broken. Absolutely. I learn something every time we are on here, and I absolutely appreciate it. I generally hang on afterwards online, but I got to hop off because my lady is waiting, and I don't want to keep her waiting too much longer.
Man, say hello to the missus.
Absolutely. Yeah. She's here for a limited time, and I need to make sure
I said hello.
Stephanie said
you gotta know who's on your team and who's not on your team. So just tell the fiance, I said, hey, keep doing what you're doing.
And I will accept that. So maybe you speaking something into existence. We'll see.
Yeah, you smiling kind of hard over there, bro.
I have not presented a ring. I'm just simply comfortable with the term as well as the future that could provide.
Lock it down.
I support this message.
You get it. You know how, listen, as the streets ambassador, ain't nothing out there. Ain't nothing out there. I'm telling you right now. Nah, ain't nothing out there. You got one, keep it.
The streets ain't hot.
The streets ain't hot. I'm reporting on site. The streets is cold. The streets is cold.
Is the block hot? Is the block hot?
That block is chilly. A little bit breezy.
I don't even know how we got here. How we even
the family bloodline is fast.
It's fire, man. That's hilarious. But gentlemen, I thank you all for your words as always. And good people, y'all could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to hang out with us, and we absolutely appreciate you for it. Matter of fact, hit us with that cash app as soon as you get a chance. $1, 50 cents, $5, $10. We appreciate it. It all goes a long way. So with that being said, thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.
Good night.
Take care.